Brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome in to Sports Time. Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy, Johnny Hill with you for the next 3 hours as we work our way closer to Tigers back in action in basketball tonight. 7 p.m. tip against Charlotte at home, their first home game since after those 2 road losses against North Texas and SMU. But like I said, a lot to get to over these next 3 hours, both here locally and nationally. A big sports night last night, big night in college basketball last night. College football, we've got a lot of news coming out. We've got decisions that might be made today in college football. So a lot to get to over these next 3 hours. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well, Bryant. And did you stay up for St. Mary's in San Francisco?
I did. I stayed up for that one.
Game ended today, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Like a little after midnight?
I think just right after midnight. But I went to sleep right after the game. I mean, it was like I think I went to sleep right when their game ended. Like I think it was the same exact time.
It looked like a good game.
It was a good game. It was a really good game, and kind of weird clock management stuff at the end for San Francisco. They're like, we're down by like 4 or 5 and let 15 or 20 seconds come off the clock before they fouled with less than a minute left. I didn't really understand that, but no, it was a really fun game.
And this back-to-back coaches that San Francisco is doing it under. That's where Todd Golden was before being hired by Florida. True or false? San Francisco has been. They've been to a Final Four.
Oh, Brett, very true.
Very true. Back-to-back champions with Bill Russell and K.C. Jones. Very true. Very
true. So, no, I mean, I'm saying it. I think, obviously there's going to be a lot of talk about St. Mary's and Gonzaga in the West Coast Conference tournament. But, man, look out for San Francisco on a neutral site, and some of those long days. I think, they can maybe play upset to one of those teams.
It's one of the first fun things I look at when you get the bracket in hand after the big reveal on that Sunday night and I really do. I feel sorry for a lot of the ESPN analysts, guys and gals, having to kind of do their picks that night really just cold because there's no early peak. I mean, there's not. And they get it when CBS reveals it just like we do because, I mean, the time frame is so tight and they immediately have to, start, picking teams to go to the Final Four and things like that. But as the night goes on and into the next day, I love looking at former champs versus former champs in the first round.
Yeah.
And one that always gets people, Wisconsin.
Oh, right.
Like in 39 or 40, Oregon in 39 or 40.
Yeah, no, that's I'm excited. I mean, we're getting closer and closer, and you're seeing a lot of these games that we're getting. They're starting to kind of get that feel of end of the season, really tight, really fun games, these shocking upsets. I don't think, I think you could have found people yesterday that said, oh, yeah, Creighton will beat UConn tonight, but I don't think anybody saw them beating them like they did with 14 made threes and just, from start to finish. I mean, I think UConn went on that 7-0 run, but after that, it was all Creighton last night.
All Creighton. I praised UConn yesterday, and I still will.
Absolutely.
And I left open that could be a spot for them to lose last night, but I don't know that I saw them getting hammered like that. And I'll get to it in my not top story. Danny Hurley flew home as happy as any coach has gotten hammered as anybody ever last night.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Because today at 3 o'clock, they were going to regret seeing him.
Oh, yeah. No, you are absolutely right about that. He does
right now, there's somebody running a line drill at UConn.
Well, we talked about Rick Pitino a lot yesterday and Monday after his comments over the weekend, and I think I heard West Virginia has a player from Iona that played under Rick Pitino last year, and he said after their game last night, Rick just likes to win. He's a great guy. He loves his players, but he hates losing more than probably anything in his life. He hates losing. Dan Hurley, not far behind him. Maybe hates losing just as much. I think when you take those two coaches, I don't know of any two coaches that hate losing more than those two guys hate losing. And I'm sure next time, whether it's today or tomorrow, that UConn is out at practice, I would not want to be one of those players.
And Danny Hurley, one year when they were in the AAC, and a lot of people still sat down by the desk, there was a long review. And a friend of mine texted me and said, if you've ever picked your nose, don't do it right now because the camera's right on you. Terrible timing for it. And that night, sitting that closely to Danny Early, I learned new cuss words.
Yes, no, he does not hold his tongue.
Brand new ones.
He does not censor himself at all.
He could use it as a verb, adjective.
Oh, just, any creative. You talk about people that are very gifted, creative writing, making art.
Dangling participle.
Yes,
he could do it all.
Dan Hurley is very creative when it comes to profanity, and I'm sure he was letting it fly last night during that game.
And Bobby's just as nuts at Arizona State, and he was not like that. He was an animated player.
Right.
But he was the calm, cool, collected coach on the floor, born 40,
sure.
And was just abused by Christian Leitner as a teammate. But he had to be the calming force, and he's a lunatic at Arizona State.
Yeah, well, at least for Dan, he's always kind of been a lunatic. It's
he was as a player, and I think he ran hot that he never got the kind of the better scholarship offers that kid brother got.
Yeah, that's you're probably right. That's interesting.
And then I saw an interview with their dad, legendary high school figure,
sure.
and they get it honestly.
I believe it. I do not doubt that is something that runs in the family. But yeah, they've done a great job coaching. I know Bobby Hurley continually kind of on that hot seat, but has done an all right job at Arizona State, and then. For Dan, what he has done at UConn over these last handful of years and getting them into a position where I think a lot of people would pick them to maybe go back-to-back or go extremely deep in this tournament after winning it all last year is incredibly impressive.
You're going to FedEx Forum tonight, right?
I'll be there. That's right. I'm excited.
I'm glad you are.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Obviously, want to go see the Tigers, but I also want to get a look at this Charlotte team, a team that I watched a lot last year when they were in Conference USA. Got some new pieces, returning only a couple of guys, new coach, but I'm excited to see these two teams.
True or false? Charlotte's been to a Final Four.
Ooh, I don't know this one. I'm going to say false. I don't know.
True.
Really?
77 with Cornbread Maxwell in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, forgot about old Cornbread.
Melvin Watkins was on that team. That was the Al McGuire one and only national championship for him in 77 in Atlanta.
Wow. So been to the Final Four. I guess a matchup between two former Final Four teams. How
That's
about
right.
that? Tigers and 49ers. But no, I am excited about this game tonight. It's going to be interesting. I know we're going to go off. We're going to do our Tiger bankroll. We're going to go off of 6.5, which is what it just moved to kind of over the last 30 minutes or so. Opened at 5.5. A little surprised
going up.
It's that high and that it's moving in the Tigers' direction. But we'll see. Can the Tigers bounce back after, really a pathetic performance on Sunday?
Would you believe SMU's been to a Final Four?
Hard to believe.
It's true.
Wow. I wouldn't
So the Final Four teams in the AAC, Charlotte, FAU, SMU, Memphis, Temple, and Wichita State.
Wow. Good group in there. Some that are having success this year, others that are far from it.
FAU last year.
Yeah, FAU last year, and I don't know if they can do that again this year.
Who's next new out of the AAC to go?
Ooh, good question. Tough question.
Tulsa's been good historically, but never to a Final Four.
But not Final Four.
They've been. I saw them in an Elite Eight when Bill Self was coach there, and they lost to North Carolina in Dallas, or in Austin rather, in 2000.
Man, I don't know. That's a tough question. Is nobody an option? I have no idea. Maybe
I think nobody's safe.
Just
USF.
Maybe throw UAB in there just because I have to put a team. I don't know.
And I mean this lovingly. If they didn't get there with Gene Bartow.
Yeah, I don't see another team out of that
had
group.
some good runs with Coach Bartow.
Had some really good runs, but no, I don't see any team going to the Final
ECU,
Four.
no. Tulane, no. Rice, no. Texas, San Antonio, no.
Maybe Tulsa. Maybe.
Tulsa's probably the leader in the clubhouse, John.
Yeah.
And historically, a really great program.
Sure, but man, recently.
That's kind of always in football and in basketball Tulsa's known who they are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they know really, really small enrollment, incredible school.
Oh, yeah.
One of the great oil engineering schools in the country.
Right.
Yeah, they do got a good campus. They do.
They do, Johnny, and their facilities are nice. The town's into it.
Yeah.
But they know we're not Final Four. We're not college football playoff team.
They're middle of the pack.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't count any of them out. After seeing FAU's run last year, anybody can go.
Well, I sure didn't see that last year.
I didn't see
Remember,
that coming at all.
I saw Ole Miss beat FAU last year early in the season in
correct.
Oxford.
Yeah.
And I would have bet a lot of money neither of those teams are going to a Final Four.
Right, yes, and one of them did incredible. But no, I mean tonight should be fun. It's a big night, across the conference in the American. A lot of games going off tonight. Big night in the SEC as well. A lot of games. I know the big one, Ole Miss and Mississippi State later tonight should be a fun one.
I do think it's fair in the whole examination that we're doing, everybody's doing around town. Most of it being done out of love, and wanting good things for the Memphis Tigers basketball program.
Right.
I do think there are a couple of kick points in the Penny Hardaway years. Almost, like if Tom Brady doesn't have the tuck rule go his way. If Vinatieri doesn't drive it through head high in the snow against the Raiders, because remember that for the Patriots that year, that was not in the AFC Championship game.
Right.
That got them to the AFC Championship game that Brady got hurt in, and Bledsoe had to very capably fill in. And there was some question early in Super Bowl week of who would start that week. Would it be Bledsoe or Brady? So kind of using that as the proverbial sports what ifs. What if the Tigers beat Gonzaga a few years ago and get to the Sweet 16?
Yeah.
What if last year the timeout gets recognized? The Tigers win that game. They advance to play Fairleigh Dickinson, then go to Madison Square Garden and set up the game with Tennessee. I don't know now I know a lot of the Tiger persuasion just automatically puts that in the W column, and they would have played Kansas State in the Elite Eight and gone on the Final Four. I'm not there because. In the last 10, Memphis versus Tennessee, it's 5-5.
Right.
So, take out of that whatever you want. But from the Memphis persuasion, the what if is, that not getting that call may have stopped a Final Four run.
Yeah.
If Penny Hardaway has a Final Four run last year, heck, an Elite Eight run last year,
absolutely,
then he's shielded by all this. Like Eric Musselman is at Arkansas.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And, it's just if those things, if something here, something there could have gone differently, we're having completely different discussions about this Tiger team. But instead, we're talking about a team that, makes the NCAA tournament, wins their first game, gets that second round, and then the next year gets knocked out in the first round. And then this year is looking like they're going to miss the tournament entirely. And so, I mean, it's just... I hate that that's how it's turned out. I would have loved to be coming off this year, even though this year has certainly not played out to what anybody thought, but to be saying, well, last year Penny Hardaway took him to the Sweet 16. He took him to the Elite Eight. He took him to the Final Four. And he's fine.
He's inoculated from a lot of this.
And they can get back to it. But, we're unfortunately not having those discussions.
Even this year, now I know some of the wins you could go through and maybe turn some wins into losses, but there are a lot of losses that you could fairly. Sure. And I know if's a little kid word. I'm not much for ifs and shoulda and coulda and woulda and maybe and probably. I'm not much for that. Yeah. But we know when we do some of this examination, the kind of the fork in the road. There's a lot of nebulous quality to a season. If just make one more bucket. Against South Florida and not have to go through the indignity of blowing a 20-point lead at home to what, and we really thought of South Florida as a lesser then.
Yeah,
I don't think much of them now, but we think a little more of them now.
Sure. I mean, you can go to a lot of those, a handful of those games during that 4-game losing streak. I mean, South Florida, like you said, you make a basket there, you win that game. Tulane, you only lost 81-79. You make 2 more baskets
just
there,
a few plays,
and you win. Rice,
2 plays,
74-71. one or two plays there, you win that game, and now we're talking.
Just show up in the first half and you win that game.
Make one more basket in that first 10 minutes, or even the first half entirely, and you win that game.
Just have active blood pressure.
Right. And so then, instead of talking about 4-game losing streak, I mean, the sky's falling, we're talking about one loss at UAB. I mean, that would be completely different, and I think that would lead maybe to different outcomes against SMU and North Texas. Now, I understand not super competitive those, but maybe guys are more bought in, especially in that SMU game.
We got to do it fast. Let's go back to early in the year because I don't know many wins that you can turn into losses. Mizzou on that Friday night, won by 15. I know down at halftime, but total control of the second half. And Mizzou ended up not being very good. Michigan, kind of the same. Arkansas game was 5, but Memphis controlled that game.
Sure.
Yeah, they did.
All day. And it was the one day the Michigan game was the one day that we had the Ashton Hardaway game.
Right.
Yeah.
So I couldn't turn any of those. VCU in overtime, but when you win in overtime on the road, extra 5 minutes, and you win, I think you're better.
Yeah. But I could, out of all the games we talked about, that would be the first game that I could turn to a loss.
They had one on the glass.
Yeah.
I mean, up by the square. If it goes in, layup, they win. That's the first one. I know Vandy was close, but the proverbial if we played 100 times.
Right. Yeah, I would still take the Tigers over Vandy. I wouldn't change that to a loss at all now. I mean,
SMU in conference.
Hey.
But big second half comeback. Was kind of buried at halftime.
Yeah,
they were.
And the freak out was starting to happen around town.
They controlled that second half. I mean, really, really controlled it.
So,
I would say
Wichita State played horribly in the first half at home.
Yeah. That'd be.
So it's not now all those losses. So it all kind of falls out, doesn't it?
It evens out.
I think baseball is the biggest evening out sport out there.
Yeah, I can't agree with that.
Man, you catch one right, on the barrel, and you just smoke it head high to the center fielder, and you can't. And then the next day, a bleeder that finds grass and 3 runs score.
Yep. I mean, it's the parity in baseball is incredible. But no, you're right.
And it's so long, it has to even out.
It has to. At some point, it
is long.
Out. But you're right. No, I mean, I think
man, baseball.
You could be there a minute, man.
It's the longest 15 months in a calendar year ever. The baseball season.
And Johnny, you can ask Brad. I mean, feels way longer when your team's playing bad. I mean, when the season's over after the first month. I mean, it's a long season.
But Bryant, you had to endure that year last year for the first time in your life.
That's right.
I remember the 70s.
I know.
All the 70s were like last year.
Yeah, well, hopefully we don't get into a 70s routine and start having all these
I had a friend when I was little ask me, he said, how can you be a big fan of that? They don't ever win anything. He said, you saw Gibson at the end. You saw Brock at the end.
Tough. Yeah. Well, hopefully they turn around this year. And spring training games start tomorrow.
Hey, Brent, I'm open to recruitment.
Excited.
Well, Johnny, I mean, we got to step up with a big NIL bag. That's all we can do.
We'll try to get you watching these spring training games and try to sell you on the future.
All right, Bryant, you warned me. I know I'm running long here. We got to get to business. But you warned me. The Major League Baseball uniforms.
Brett, they're awful. They're awful.
The trousers are almost obscene.
They're see-through. You can see through them.
I mean, I'm seeing more than I want to see.
Brett, you can see the jersey tucked in through the pants.
I ain't talking about not seeing the jersey I don't want to see.
No. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that I guess we've had media days or whatever going on. All these guys are getting videos and pictures.
Dudes need to put on sliding shorts.
Holy cow!
Brett said that. You see,
man.
No, Johnny, I'm gonna have to show you
Johnny,
pictures.
It's some things you don't want to see.
Brett said, I'm seeing something I don't want to see.
No, it's bad, and maybe. I mean, might be what I could have done without for all week. Forget just today what I could have done without.
And I don't think it's going to do. There could be some Gatorade bass at the end of games this year. It could go horribly wrong.
No, Lord, no. I saw somebody that said maybe they're doing.
Daddy,
this
what is that? So I'll tell you about it later.
Someone said maybe they're doing this so that all players will start wearing cups again, and then we don't have to worry about that.
I got a cup on now. Why aren't you wearing a cup if you're playing baseball?
Great point, Brett. That's really
accidents can happen.
Yo, man, that glancing blow in baseball can kill you. That's
Sure
what I mean. Always wear a cup.
Oh, man. Well, let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, we got to talk about the game tonight. Tigers back at home going up against Charlotte. Charlotte coming in tied for second. If the tournament started today, they would be slotted as the 3 seed, but certainly towards the top of the conference. Tigers around 7th in the conference. So we'll talk about tonight's game, also get to Tiger bankroll. We're going off of 6.5, what it's moved to within the last hour. 3:45, we'll talk some NBA as games about to get back rolling tomorrow night. Some news going around in the NBA world. 4 o'clock, Blake Lovell from the Southeastern 14 will join us, talk college basketball in the SEC. A big night tonight. And some interesting games last night. Arkansas gets the season sweep over Texas A&M last night. A big win for them on the road. So we'll talk a lot of SEC with Blake. 4:30, we got to talk some college football and college football playoff with the new rulings of the 5 and 7. Got to talk about that. Some other college football news coming out today. And we could, in the next couple of hours, get even more news in college football. So we'll keep you up to date with all of that. 4:45, big number of the day. 5 o'clock, college basketball with Kevin Sweeney. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The floor model sale going on right now at Family Leisure. All floor model patio sets are priced to move. Wicker sofa set under $2,000. Closeout patio cushions as low as $25. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating under $2,000. 4-person hot tubs now under $5,000. Infrared and traditional steam saunas now 25% off. Get ready for summer and purchase your above-ground pool now to get first in line for installation. And that special financing, it's still available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sportstime, and we're with you until 6 o'clock. Johnny Hill he's our producer. Bryant and Brett with you. And we want you to be a part of our show at 901-360-8255. Tiger tips at 7, right?
That's right, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock tip. So we're with you until 6, and then you'll have plenty of time to get downtown for Tigers and Charlotte. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. The one and only Lexus dealership in town with great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673. No appointment necessary. But if oil changes, anything like that, just to get ahead, you can to get in line at Lexus of Memphis. Stop by at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, the Tigers back in action at home tonight against Charlotte. Charlotte has played well, especially in conference play, and certainly close to the top in conference play. I believe right now, if the tournament started, they would be the 3 seed right behind Florida Atlantic. But either way, a top 3 seed for them if the tournament started today. They've been rolling. They've won 3 in a row against South Florida a couple weeks ago. They were up by 15 at one point and ended up losing that game 72-69. But before that, rattled off a ton of games. Started the season really, really well in conference play, sitting in first place for a while in conference. Started that streak with a win over Florida Atlantic. But now they come to Memphis, the Tigers a 5-point favorite, but it feels like two teams going in opposite directions. We saw what the Tigers put out on the court on Sunday. It really just looked like the players gave up. They didn't care anymore. And now Penny Hardaway is saying that there are going to be hurt feelings, that he's only going to play guys that want to be out there. Will we see that? Will we see a change to the starting lineup? We'll see in a couple of hours. But on the other side, this Charlotte team, it feels like they're playing with nothing to lose. I mean, they're just going out there playing games the right way, just going out there trying to get better. And, they're in their mind.
And maybe getting a tournament.
And maybe getting a tournament, but I don't think that's at the front of their mind like it is for the Tigers. And so I think
95,
they're just playing carefree. And so it should be a really, really fun game tonight. I think Tigers get back and win, but it's gonna be tough tonight for sure.
Brian, I know you will. That's my top story as well. I know you will. There's a lot to keep an eye on tonight. When we close tonight at 5:55 in Taco Bell crunch time, I mean, tonight you want to watch Charlotte. You want to watch the Tigers. You want to watch body language from the Tigers. You want to watch bench comportment out of the Tigers tonight, and to see the discontent or content of the hometown crowd. That game's tonight at FedEx Forum against Charlotte, and then on Sunday we'll be at home, and the following Sunday we'll be at home. Just 3 home games left tonight and the next 2 Sunday afternoons, Charlotte, FAU, UAB. The Tigers are 0-1 against those 3 teams this year. They're 7-6 in AAC play. That's 7th seed today in the AAC. Against teams above them in the AAC, they're 1-4. Against teams beneath them in the AAC, they are 6-3. Memphis leads 8-6 all time. There's going to be a test on all this math. Memphis leads 8-6 all time versus the 49ers. 1997, the last Charlotte win in Memphis. Last meeting was New Year's Eve 2011 in Memphis. Tonight is another must win. How many of those have we had this year?
That's a good question. It's been
Not
a lot.
top story.
More than
of
it
the
should
day.
be. That's for sure. My not top
Been a
story.
lot of must. And hadn't turned out to be good in a lot of those.
No, I mean, honestly, Brett, it feels like it's been most of conference play has felt like must-win games, especially when they went on that 4-game losing streak.
It has felt like a lot of these conference games have been program defining.
Yeah, no, it really has. And so hopefully maybe the Tigers can make it easy tonight. I wouldn't bet my money on it, though. My not top story of the day was just what happened in college basketball last night. A really, really fun night in college basketball. We had 8 straight-up upsets against the spread, teams that were underdogs and just came out and flat out won. I think the biggest one that everyone is talking about is Creighton at home over UConn. Just the way they did it, 14 made threes for that team, just played extremely well, and it was just too much for UConn to handle really from start to finish. But some other games, we mentioned Arkansas over Texas A&M. They were a 12.5-point underdog in that game, but they go out and get the win. Another game, it wasn't an upset, but another fun game, BYU and Baylor. BYU at home, a slight favorite in that game. They get the win. They also made 14 threes in that game, and center Ali Khalifa, who transferred to BYU from Charlotte, one of my favorite players for that team last year, and a guy that I tried to spread the word on, tried to pray that Memphis would go out and get him. He's had some trouble at BYU trying to get acclimated, but a massive game for him. The big man, the big center, 14.7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 0 turnovers for him. So a good game for him and a good win for BYU at home.
True or false? BYU's never been to a Final Four.
True.
False.
Johnny's right. True.
Rats.
BYU and Alabama are way up there in those in teams that have gotten a lot of bids to the tournament to never make it to a Final Four. My not top story, you mentioned it. And yesterday I was extolling UConn, saying everything goes through them. It still does. But last night, as Danny Hurley put it, they ran into a buzzsaw. They got smoked, but I'll bet you deep down he loved every second of it. His players won't love today and tomorrow at practice. But it'll be good for them at the end during one shining moment. If they have it, they'll look back as at that game kind of reset them. Mm-hmm. Coaches like that. But the rest of the rest of UConn's schedule, it has 2 more tough road games at Marquette and at Providence. And then listen to this for them: Madison Square Garden for Big East, pod into Barclays in Brooklyn, and then regional in Boston, and then Final Four in Glendale, Arizona, outside of Phoenix. It still all goes through them.
Feels like it, especially with that kind of almost feels like home court advantage for them playing in that in kind of that same.
That's
region.
as cozy as it gets, isn't it?
It sure does. And you're right. I'm kind of one of those people that I don't want a team going into the NCAA tournament being super red hot. Drop a game, let them reset, realize that they're beatable, and then go out and do your thing. So I kind of like this loss for UConn.
I've told the story a million times over there. I'm going to tell it again. 1994 SEC basketball tournament in Memphis, and Kentucky and Arkansas played a classic semifinal game on Saturday. Winner goes to the finals. Right. Kentucky did. In the back area with some other people, Nolan Richardson said, well, I got to go here and cuss my team out. But he said, thank God we lost. We can go home today, watch the selection show tomorrow at my house, and get on a run. They got on a run and won it all.
Wow, that's incredible. So, see, I mean, sometimes resetting is good. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. When we come back, we'll talk more about the Tigers game tonight against Charlotte. We'll also make our picks during Tiger Bankroll. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's time to get thunderstruck during Gossett Mitsubishi's spring sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Ready to get 43 MPG Highway? Check out the 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. We Gossett, $18,610 or $249 a month. Need extra room? 7-passenger seating in 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SE, $33,605 or $399.99 a month. And Gossett Mitsubishi's got sophisticated styling and comfort in 2024 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $31,200 or $449 a month. Plus, every Gossett Mitsubishi comes with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Mirage RH005931 MSRP 19110, Outlander RZO 19512 MSRP 34605, Eclipse RZO 10625 MSRP 317, includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Winter's coming. Heavy rain, sleet, snow, and ice. Are your tires up for the challenge? Tread confidently in winter's worst with a set of new tires from Tire Rack. They only sell the best, like the full line of hand-cooked tires. Go to TireRack.com/Colin. Tell them what you drive. Your tires will ship fast and free to you or one of over 10,000 recommended installers. Go to TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
When you're hunting for small game or big game or thinking of selling your home, think about Sheldon Rosengarten and you Mallory.
That's right, Sheldon. We're with Mark Spensdorf Realtors, and while I'm often successful when I go hunting, I heard you're such a lousy golfer they've banned you from some courses.
Very funny, you. I may be a horrible golfer, but I have a highly successful strategic marketing program with the famous Shellbucks option that takes up most of my practice time. My clients would much rather see me sell their home than hit a hole-in-one.
Sheldon, you're normally about 5 strokes away from a hole-in-one. That's on a par 3.
Yeah. Remember, don't tee off with any agent. Talk to 2 or 3 and let you, Mallory, and me be one of them. Remember what people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon. And Mallory Moves Memphis. That's Sheldon Rosengarten and you, Mallory, at 682-1868 or MemphisRelocate.com. Do it now, 682-1868 or MemphisRelocate.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21590, Sorrento PG 242710, MSRP 33010, Telluride RG 462-822, MSRP 38705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you ready to get this party started at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
You bet I am, Randy. Gossett's got your new Kia that gets 41 MPG Highway. 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month. $27.99 due at signing. Need extra room? How about a 2023 Kia Sorrento LX at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing, and a 2024 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease.
Plus, get peace of mind because with every Gossett Kia, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Sports 56 Traffic.
Good afternoon. It's already heavy again, just like yesterday, over here on 240 eastbound where they're doing some work right near Sam Cooper. It's affecting that rush hour traffic on 240 eastbound, trying to get up past Poplar, Walnut Grove. Again, it's already slow go, just like yesterday over here on this side of town on 240 east here at Sam Cooper. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and the Tigers, they're back in action tonight against Charlotte. Brett, I gotta know, Penny Hardaway said, I'm going to play the guys that want to be out there, the guys that care. He even went and said they got to care about this team, this city, this university. Do you think we see a change tonight in the starting lineup?
I do, and we'll see how long it holds.
Now that's the real question.
That is, and all of us, I think most everybody has a respect for him and respect for authority and respect for a coach.
Sure.
I'm almost always going to side with the coach of I'm not playing a guy. He won't hustle. He won't listen.
Yep.
He's not a team guy. He's going to sit and watch. I will support that every time.
Yep.
Yes.
Most will. Most will.
Absolutely.
Until you're down 15, playing the hustling, showing up on time, that's not as talented as the disengaged guy.
Right. And that's what I've been worried about this whole time is what does tonight look like if you're down by 10 maybe, and you're running out the guys that care. And then people are saying, well, if we had these guys out there.
And he may care, but he can't score.
Yeah.
All he can do is pass.
All he can do is care.
Yeah. All he can do is care.
So,
and that's worth a lot, and it should be rewarded. But it doesn't put any points on the board.
Well, and I think another thing, and I've seen a lot of people that are frustrated by this, but I don't think a starting lineup change means much if you're just going to sub a minute and a half into the game. I mean, if you're
like the Rice starting lineup,
right? I mean, Rice, you saw that. You saw it on Saturday against SMU, Wichita State. You saw. I mean, he's done it a lot lately, and I just don't understand. I mean, it seems like
he's tried every motivation we can think of, and I bet a lot that we don't know about that I would defend him on.
Absolutely. It just doesn't seem like anything's working, and I'm really interested to see what that starting lineup looks like.
And another thing that's happened with Coach Penny Hardaway yesterday when I was talking about all the Tiger coaches in their sixth year, and I mentioned that Coach Larry Finch in his sixth year, he went to Elite Eight with a guy named Penny Hardaway.
Wow, yeah.
If the next Penny Hardaway could walk in the door and play for Coach Penny Hardaway,
it'd be great.
it'd probably be a plus 4 improvement or minimum in wins and losses, and all the superstars, and he was a superstar, and the knock on them becoming the great coach is that they don't have that. They didn't have that ragamuffin upbringing.
Right.
They made it look easy because they were that different. We hear people talk about Coach Hardaway being different, and I've said it's why he's not going to be fired. He shouldn't be fired.
Right.
And he is different. He is bigger than the program. He's Penny Hardaway in Memphis, Tennessee. If I've got to explain that to you, then I got to explain a lot to you, and I don't have time to. But a lot of the star players, they sometimes don't translate into great coaching because just come off that pick and roll and you pull up, knock down that 16-foot jump shot.
Yeah.
Coach, I don't have those abilities. I can't do that.
Right.
I'm not you.
Yeah, no, and that's what you hear about a lot of great players that get into coaching is it's just hard for them to try to teach and explain these things because it comes so naturally to them, and Penny Hardaway certainly one of those guys that it feels like the game came pretty naturally to him, and he certainly had a gift when it came to playing basketball.
Do you remember that 5 minutes George Brett was the hitting coach for the Kansas City Royals a few years ago?
I do, yes.
5 minutes will about get it.
Yeah.
It drove him crazy.
Yeah. And That's how it goes. I mean,
you get in the hole 0-2, dig in and foul some balls off, take and have a sharp eye. Wait till he grooves you something.
And I don't blame these coaches, whether it's basketball or baseball or any sport, that get frustrated. I mean, I'm sure if something came that easy to me and I was trying to explain it to somebody and they just continued to do something different that I was explaining and were saying, I don't understand what you're telling me, I'm sure that would be frustrating. I'm sure I would probably want to leave my job. But no, I mean, it's going to be interesting tonight.
And this is not a shot. This is not.
No.
It's just it's a part of the whole, the vacant part of the resume of Coach Hardaway, where a lot of star players learn about the not so gifted, not so talented, that ragamuffin player that's playing as hard as he can, but he's averaging 2 points and an assist for a reason. You learn that in the assistant process, like Larry Finch had to learn it. Larry Finch was as big a star for Memphis State University as Penny Hardaway was, and he had to learn it at Richland Junior High and on the bench for Coach Gene Bartow at UAB, and then to Memphis for Coach Dana Kirk on his staff. He had to learn that. He had to learn the bus rides and the recruiting and the evaluation, and Coach Hardaway never had that in his coaching background.
No, that's a really good point, and we'll see what happens tonight for the Tigers in a game that I don't know about you, Brett. I'm certainly surprised that it's moved to 6.5. I was kind of surprised that it opened at 5.5.
I was too. What does Vegas know? Yeah. And Brian, I didn't loudly. I was mostly open to, amenable for everything that went down with Tubby Smith and Penny Hardaway. On the whole, you can't do almost. He's not in the Hall of Fame, but Tubby Smith probably will. You can't do a Hall of Fame coach like that. Well, yeah, you can. If you got a good plan, a plan that will sell a lot of tickets, and you think will have a lot of enthusiasm for the program, yes, you can, because really Memphis didn't owe him anything. They paid the out years on the contract. They paid him every dime he was financially due, but at that time I and some others tried to raise the vacuum in Coach Hardaway's background in the resume, and it was, and we were told that he's going to go recruit and sign the guys that are going to be one and done. That changed on him. Yeah, that dynamic in college basketball changed, and now we're kind of here at this place where he wants to go with veteran players, a lot of players that have played at played.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and that's. He kind of got thrown into a college basketball world that was one way when he first got the job, and has changed so much in the very few, limited time he's been here. And he
didn't see G League.
No.
That was the type of guys that people finding then.
No, you're right, and I mean I remember what his second class, I think, was when G League Ignite had their first team, and was in on a couple of guys that went G League Ignite. Same thing, the next year. There's been a couple of years where he's been in on guys that went G League Ignite. So it's completely different, and I think he's still trying to adjust of how to build the right roster for what he's looking to do. Obviously he's going to have to replace a handful of guys again this next offseason. We'll see how he does it.
The Tigers are 6 night after being 6.5 point favorites. That's what they were at home against Tulane. That at Temple. So the last time they've been 6.5 point favorite, they got there in both games. Johnny, you've won 8 straight to get to 1075 for the year. Before the start of this 8 straight, you were down to $585 in cash after starting with the $1,000 we have in everybody's account. You're now at 1075, 15-11 on the year. What team and how much?
Well, man, I'm going with my heart over my head, man. I'm going with the Tigers for 75.
Okay.
75. If you win, you're You're down to where we started way back in November. One grande.
Wow.
Hopefully I can get back.
Brian, I'm 15-11 on the year. I've won 7 of the last 9. I won Sunday $25 to get to $1,500, starting at $1,000. So a 50% return on the cash so far this year for everybody investing with me. I know there are millions out there.
Sure.
I take Charlotte tonight for 40 plus the 6.5.
Oh, man.
So no group lock.
No group lock. I kind of assumed we'd have a group lock. Johnny kind of threw a wrench into that. And I was feeling originally that I would need to go, whatever y'all group locked on, I was going to have to go the other way because I got to start making up ground. And the only way I can do that.
You're in scramble mode.
I am. And so now I just have to pick a side. And so based on recent results, I'm going to have to go with Charlotte as well, plus the 6.5. Oh, man, I'll go 50. I mean, I really don't know what to do with this team anymore because I mean, they come out on Sunday. They don't give any effort. But, at home, they could go out there and win by double digits. I don't know what to think about this team anymore.
And here's the difference between now and this time last year. Mm-hmm. We knew the Tigers were going to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And we were kind of thinking at least 2 in the tournament, so you had to hold some cash back to play that, and probably thought at least a Sunday down at AAC at Dickies Arena, and they did, so you had to hold cash back there. So we don't know whether to empty the wallet out or not because we know Sunday afternoon, March 9th, is the last regular season game.
Yeah.
Are they good for 1, 2, 3 at Dickies Arena? 1, 2 in the NIT?
Brett, I don't know what to do with this team. I don't know what to do with this season. I don't know what to do with my bankroll. I just don't know what to do. And on that
I don't either.
On that note, I think I need a break.
But I do want to say, regardless of how this year ends, if it's not in the NCAA tournament, I don't think the season should go past that. If it's NIT, the university should turn it down and move on and get them next year.
Yeah, well, it's starting to look like unless they win the conference tournament, they're going to have to make that decision because it does not look like they can play their way back into the NCAA tournament without going and winning that conference tournament. But we'll see what they can do tonight. A win would certainly be the first step in that direction. But let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk some NBA.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best kept secret in town, open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, $2.25. Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the new Callaway AI Smoke Driver. The new AI Design Club has multiple sweet spots across the face, making it an average of 7 yards longer than the prior model. Visit us in store for a free custom fitting at your local Edwin Watts Golf Shops or shop us online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Did you know some ordinary cold medicines can raise your blood pressure? That's alarming. Fortunately, there's Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. It's specially formulated without alcohol, sugar, or decongestants to provide fast, powerful cold and flu symptom relief for people with high blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, try DayQuil High Blood Pressure, the daytime coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, colds, and flu for people with high blood pressure medicine. Use as directed and keep out of reach of children.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
It's leap year, so jump into big savings at Gossett Kia on the Pike. New 2024 Kia Forte LXS gets 41 MPG, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. How about 7-passenger seating? Get 2023 Kia Sorento LX, $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 2024 Kia Telluride LX, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease, and don't forget, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So call Bobby J to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21,590. Sorrento PG 242710, MSRP 33,010. Telluride RG 462-822, MSRP 38,705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
It's a new year, and Family Leisure has a new way to bring family and fun together. All you have to do is walk into Family Leisure and look around. All those floor model patio sets you see, those have got to go. So Family Leisure can make room for all the new sets coming. Get a wicker sofa set for under $2,000. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating for under $2,000. Hot tubs for $4,000 or just for yourself. If you really want to lounge, they're under $5,000. Need patio cushions? Get them as low as $25. Oh, have you seen those infrared steam saunas? Well, now they and the traditional saunas are 25% off. It may just be the first few weeks of 2024, but that doesn't mean you can't start getting ready for summer. 2 final things. Purchase your above-ground pool now and get first in line for installation, and take advantage of special financing that's available. Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, bringing the family and the fun back together.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and talked a lot of college basketball, a lot about the Tigers to start the show. But Brett, tomorrow night, NBA is back from the All-Star weekend, and Grizzlies don't play till Friday. They'll have that first night off. But we have a lot of games tomorrow night. I'm curious for you, what is something you're going to be keeping an eye on kind of post-All-Star break to the end of the season?
The stretch run, and it's not that long. I mean, we're at the 3/4 pole, almost 3/4 pole, and down the stretch they come in the West. The jockeying for playoff seeding, and we know how important it is. I think Denver needs it to get back to a Western Conference championship.
Yeah.
They need to be the one or the two. Oklahoma City, is it a year too soon? Is it really their time?
Yeah.
And the other teams, the West, of course, the Lakers, a full schedule tomorrow night, and a full one Friday night when the Grizzlies play downtown.
Yeah, some really good games, and kind of getting it started off with a bunch of games tomorrow night. You mentioned both the Clippers and the Thunder. That's going to be a big game tomorrow night to start this. And you mentioned the Nuggets, and I think that's a team. When we were talking to Keith Smith about what team really needed the All-Star break, and I think the first answer is probably the New York Knicks with all of the injuries they've had and stuff like that. They needed some time off, try to get some guys healthy, try to regroup. But I think the Denver Nuggets were right there. They had lost 3 straight going into the All-Star break. They had been dealing with a couple of minor injuries on their roster, and so I think they really needed that. And I'm curious to see how they start this kind of last stretch of the season. And it's not going to be easy for them, and with seeing a lot of Western Conference teams down the stretch. But they start off with the Wizards and the Trailblazers, but then after that, Warriors, Kings, Heat, Lakers, Suns. I mean, it's not going to be easy for them.
Adam Silver's catching it from a lot of people right now over the All-Star weekend, All-Star game. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's what he wanted.
No.
But you have to recognize the things he's done very well, and one of them is the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
The idea of that first night of the play-in tournament, and this is how it would fall right now. Lakers at home against Golden State.
Whoa.
Loser goes home.
Whoa. I mean, Brett, that is a matchup that even when whoever was pitching this idea for the NBA, when they were all sitting around a table and said, let's make a play-in tournament. Think about what we could have. Nobody put up, we could maybe get Warriors versus Lakers with Steph and his group going up against LeBron James in a play-in game.
Now help me on seeding in the West. 7 and 8 play, and whomever wins that will be designated the 7, right?
Correct.
No matter what, one shot. And 9 and 10 play, and 1 is eliminated, right?
One's eliminated, one goes and plays the team remaining.
Right.
So, I mean,
one shot deal.
That would be
on a Tuesday night in late April or mid-April. I think, would they like that, or would you rather have them around for a 7-game series?
Well, that's a good question, because it might be the short-sighted answer might be get him in that one.
Neither can get there.
No.
Neither can get there. Lakers right now 3 back in the loss column, as well as Golden State to Sacramento for the 8.
Yeah.
Neither one of them can get guaranteed.
No.
In a best of 7.
I think when you're looking at where they are right now and knowing that neither of them can get that high in the conference, I think you're popping champagne in the NBA headquarters saying, this is the matchup we get, a winner go home.
Got to take it, yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good. That's almost as good as it gets. But, for here locally, I'm excited to see this final stretch for the Grizzlies. I'm curious for you, because we had this discussion with DeMichael Cole on Monday, because I know he was telling us his opinion on it. His colleague at the Commercial Appeal, Mark Giannotto, has a very different outlook on it. Mark Giannotto wrote a story saying that the Grizzlies should rest their guys. The guys that are out should not come back. Talking about Brandon Clark, talking about Desmond Bane. And DeMichael Cole says that they need to play, that he thinks these guys like Vince Williams Jr., G.G. Jackson need to get adapted to playing with guys like Desmond Bane, Brandon Clark, because those are going to be the guys they're playing with next year. What's your opinion on these guys coming back from injuries, and should they play, should they not play?
I think I could mostly intelligently argue both sides.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying either DeMichael or Mark are wrong.
Yeah.
I would play the safe game. So I guess I would yield to Mark, the columnist, over DeMichael, the beat guy, because we know what they can do.
Yeah.
And we know do they really need it for shape? Do they really? And the second guessing, the backseat driving if somebody got hurt.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, it's interesting because, like you said, I could argue both sides. I could wake up tomorrow and be on the completely opposite side.
I could argue the fans deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a bunch
hard
of fans
working, big money spent. The fans could deserve it.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say this. I'm going to get in trouble doing it.
Ooh.
I'm going to get in trouble doing it. There's so many players hurt for the Grizzlies that when you look down in that bench area, that's all you see.
Oh, no, you're right about that.
And they all want to stand the whole game and be super cheerleader team support.
Yes.
If I'm those people paying that big money right behind a bunch of 7-footers standing up, sit down. I came to watch the game.
Yeah.
And extremely bad look seeing Jake LaRavia like he's one of the guys out there cheering. Ja's got that gravitas. Desmond Bane's got it. Marcus Smart's got it. Jake, sit down.
Yeah,
I said it.
I'm with you on that. I mean, one guy sticks out like a sore thumb when it comes to all of the superstars that are out for this Grizzlies team, and it's Jake LaRavia. But it's going to be fun to get the NBA back rolling. I'm excited to see what the Grizzlies do down the stretch to wrap up this season. But we need to get to a break, and when we come back, we're talking some SEC basketball with Blake Lovell.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your buddy Johnny Radio. I'm here with Mark, the owner of Dyer's, out in Collierville's historic town square, where they've been cooking up them burgers since 1912, the old-fashioned way. Mark, what's going on in life? I see you got your 4 kids with you. What do they love about Dyer's?
Man, they love everything about Dyers. They love all the great food that we serve, and they really like eating our good food and watching some of their favorite sports.
Braden, what do you like at Dyers?
I like a bacon burger with fries, a milkshake, and with a Tigers game in the background.
Carter, who's your favorite football team?
The Carolina Panthers, and just with some macaroni with that sounds amazing.
My man Beckham, what's your favorite food over at Dyers?
We like the double cheeseballs.
Kinley, what is your favorite dish over at Dyers?
Daddy's cheeseburgers and the Dallas Cowboys game in the background.
Just remember, everybody, bring your family, bring your
all those
friends,
players
bring
in that
your
bench
team
area
out
playing
and eat at our place.
So head on over to Dyers in Collierville's historic town square.
This year, Dell Technologies wants to help you do amazing things with their best tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Join the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts for an evening with Cal Ripken Jr. February 22nd and celebrate a true champion. Ironman Cal Ripken Jr. played 2,632 consecutive games for the Baltimore Orioles. This 19-time All-Star, 2-time American League MVP, and Baseball Hall of Fame inductee is a true baseball icon. Get tickets at HeindelCenter.org to see Cal Ripken Jr. 7:30 p.m. Thursday, February 22nd at the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts on the campus of Northwest Mississippi Community College in Senatobia.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21590, Sorrento PG 242710, MSRP 33010, Telluride RG 462822, MSRP 38705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you ready to get this party started at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
You bet I am, Randy. Gossett's got your new Kia that gets 41 MPG highway. 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Need extra room? How about a 2023 Kia Sorrento LX at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And a 2024 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease.
Plus, get peace of mind because with every Gossett Kia, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's already slow go over here on 240 eastbound. They started that work again earlier today, and now we've got a repeat of what we had to deal with yesterday on 240 east, where it's already slow, passing Bill Morris Parkway, working your way up to Poplar towards Walnut Grove, all the way to Sam Cooper. It's already heavy 240 east from Mill Branch out to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Give yourself extra time over here on this side of town. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in Memphis. Check out Tomahawk Crane and Rigging online at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studios, and joining us now to talk some SEC basketball, Blake Lovell from the Southeastern 14 joins us now. Blake, thanks so much for joining us again. And we had some fun games last night in the SEC, a really good slate of games tonight as well. But looking at last night's game, Arkansas goes on the road and beats Texas A&M, a team that before the season started, a lot of people were talking about that could be in that conversation for winning the conference. And now it looks like with that loss probably outside of the NCAA tournament right now in terms of bracketology, what have you made of this year for Texas A&M, and where did it go from them being picked by some preseason to win the conference and now on the outside looking into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, they've been a strange team, guys. I mean, I think it kind of, obviously you have a player of the year guy in Wade Taylor from last year, and you think, all right, that's good. You start there, you build off of that, and you feel like, you've got some good players around him. Obviously, Tyrese Radford can be really good too, but I don't think we ever could imagine that A&M was going to be as bad offensively in terms of shooting the ball as they've been. I mean, they are just a terrible shooting team in a lot of different areas. I mean, obviously it's worse at three-point shooting. They're shooting 27%. That's bottom 5, 6, I think, in the country. Free throw shooting, they're shooting, I think, 68, 69%, which is not very good. They're shooting 47% from inside the arc. So they can't score consistently enough. And I think this is not, it's not a great defensive team either. And so when you combine all things together, I think it's just there's not a lot of room for error for this team. So when they come out and shoot it as poorly as they usually do, that's kind of led to a lot of inconsistent results, I think, at this point. And so, yeah, that was one I didn't think they could really afford to give away, because now you turn around and go to Tennessee on Saturday. The rematch, I think, is going to be a lot tougher than it was the last time around. And you still got road games at Georgia, Ole Miss. Got to play South Carolina, Mississippi State at home. I mean, that's that. I think A&M's probably the most unpredictable team left, because they could go 0-5 or they go 4-1, depending on if they shoot the ball well. So who knows?
And that once gaudy net is now down to 50. South Carolina at 58, Ole Miss at 67. But Ole Miss and Texas A&M will play in Oxford on the last Saturday of the regular season. If Ole Miss beats them both times, they've already defeated them at College Station. If they defeat them at Oxford, I don't think, if it comes down to one of those two, I don't think it's even close. I don't care what A&M's net would be. If I beat you twice, I should get the bid over you.
Yeah, and I think what I'm not hearing people talk about enough with A&M, because I do still see some people, even after last night, saying, hey, they're going to be fine because, this is helping here, that's helping there. They've got some good wins. Those are helping. But I'm like, at some point, the thing about A&M is you have to look at the right part of the record column. And it's like they have 11 losses now. So, they're not going to get in with 15 or 16 losses. This isn't the kind of team that's going to do that. We've seen SEC teams break the record. I think it was Vanderbilt that broke the record at first. Alabama broke it after that in terms of, I think, most losses to get in or whatever it was. I remember it was 14 or 15.
Jim Herrick in Georgia got in with a bunch of losses one time.
And that's the thing. It's this to me isn't an A&M team that's going to get in with that kind of record this year. I feel like there's just too much that they've left on the table, even with the good wins. I don't think there's enough there for them to get in, again, with 14 losses or something like that. I think they have to have a great finish. And like you said, I think that's key for Ole Miss, because if you look at the Rebels, at this point it is bad loss avoidance. And the good news is they only have, I think, probably a couple of those. And even Georgia may not be a bad loss if they lose that one on the road. The Missouri loss would be bad. But the other games, there's lots of opportunity for potential. And I think Ole Miss, honestly, if you'd asked me yesterday, I'd have said maybe Ole Miss is the team that plays their way out. A&M stays in. Now I probably would flip it, because I just don't trust A&M anymore.
Could both play their way out and the SEC be down to, heaven forbid, unthinkable, only 7 bids?
I think that's a real possibility. And every time I see 9, I'm just I'm trying not to be pessimistic, but I find it really hard to believe it's going to be 9. I just don't see it happening. I haven't thought that for a month.
I never have either.
I've said 8, and it's just because, again, you're just maybe playing the scenarios where one team plays its way out. They have to play each other. Somebody's got to lose. And teams, need wins if you're on the bubble. And by virtue of that, you're just going to kind of go head-to-head like we just talked about with Ole Miss and A&M. And so, but it would shock me, again, if A&M just continues to go the wrong direction. Well, they're not even in the conversation if we get to that point. Then it becomes, all right, Ole Miss is probably the next team in that category, because Florida's obviously done their work over the past 3 weeks where they were kind of in that same conversation. Now I think Florida's going to be just fine. Mississippi State has certainly turned it around with I don't want to say easier schedule, but obviously they've had a little let up here that's really been helpful for them, given a tough first part of the schedule. And I think they're going to still pick up a couple key wins because they've got opportunities left too. So, yeah, it probably comes down to Ole Miss and A&M. And like you said, if let's say A&M beats an Ole Miss or something, and both teams are in a bad spot, that doesn't do anything for anybody. So.
And Blake, in a weird way, and both of us we love it and follow it closely, but in a weird way, the SEC's kind of in basketball's kind of become what we deride, what we've kind of chuckled at with the Big Ten. Gobs of bids, bunch of teams in, nobody doing any damage.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and I think that's where this is one of those years where I feel like if the SEC is going to make strides, you need one of these top 4 or 5 teams to advance to the second round of the tournament or third round, to the Sweet 16 second weekend. Because I think this is just, like I said, I think this is one of those years where you go back to 2019. That was the year the SEC had 5 teams that were top 5 seeds. When Mississippi State gets beat in the first round of Liberty, we know everybody else and what they did from there. You had the Auburn-Kentucky game. Auburn gets to the Final Four. All that. Is the league as strong this year as it was that year? I don't think so, but I think this is probably the closest it's been in terms of looking at some teams at the top that feel like they have that potential to get that run. Again, we know we're going to get probably 3 top 5 seeds out of the SEC for sure, is my guess. So if you look at it that way, yeah, there's a lot at stake this season, I think, to kind of prove as a conference you have what it takes, because otherwise, it feels like the same story every year, right? We're usually talking about another disappointing exit for Tennessee or Kentucky or teams like that, Auburn. Is that going to be the story this year? It can't, because this is kind of one of those years they have to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Blake Lovell from the Southeastern 14. He joins us every single week to talk SEC basketball. Blake, Kentucky, they're back in action tonight on the road against LSU. That game later tonight on ESPN. And since that home loss to Gonzaga, 2 games for Kentucky and 2 really good defensive performances for them against Ole Miss, and then on the road at Auburn over the weekend, a 70-59 win for them. Do you think this is Kentucky's defense turning a corner, or do you think this is just a really good couple of games and they can revert right back to what we saw earlier in the conference slate?
Listen, I'll give you the answer after tonight's game, because this game terrifies me for Kentucky. Absolutely terrifies me if I'm a Kentucky fan, because you've heard it. They're turning a corner. This is it. This is how they make their run. They always play great at the end of February under Cal, and this is it. We're finally seeing it. We didn't know if we'd ever get there, but these past 2 games, we're seeing it now. But you go to Baton Rouge, you play an LSU team that I was looking at the recent history the other day. I think you got to go back 14, 15 years, something like that. Every game that Kentucky has played in Baton Rouge has been close, except for the times they've lost, where they've gotten blown out, I think 1 or 2 times. Every game they've won has been within probably 4 or 5 points. Wow. And so I fully expect this to be a close game tonight, and then it's like, all right, we'll decide then. Has Kentucky really turned the corner? Because, I've made the joke, and I don't obviously have every team's record in front of me, but I said LSU may be the best 13 and 12 team in the country, because they've been really close in a lot of games. And they just have not had that extra something to get over the hump in probably three games or something. Think about it, right? If they win a game they lost at Georgia by 2, A&M at home by 4, the game at Florida by 2. If they win 2 of those 3, we're talking about LSU in the NCAA tournament conversation probably a little bit. So, yeah, so I think this is a tricky one for Kentucky. But this is the kind of one, if they have turned the corner, they have to find a way to win. And I think it will all be about defense, because LSU is a good offensive team at times. They play really well with Jordan Wright leading the way, and Will Baker and Jalen Cook, all those guys that are stepping up. Tyrell Ward's been really good and all that. So, yeah, I just think this is one where we find out a lot more about Kentucky tonight in this one.
And Saturday night, after their biggest win of the year, game day down on the Plains, that arena that we've all agreed, toughest place to play in the SEC, one of the toughest places to play in all college basketball. And the first thing John Calipari does post-game, because he does not have a gracious bone in his body, he goes to the bank of microphones and goes after the media for going after his players. Quit going after my players. If you want to go after somebody, go after me. Nobody's called his players out this year, Blake. People have called him out, and he has to go out there, and he does it in the biggest smart alecky style as ever, and goes after the media when nobody's ripped on his players.
I was going to say, I couldn't even tell you a time I've heard anybody rip on the Kentucky, which is unusual. Usually there is some times where, it's so loud that you'll get certain players mentioned to say, all right, well, this guy's the problem or that guy's the problem. I don't really know.
Nobody's gone full Archie Goodwin on anybody this year.
No. Listen, the only thing that's probably been discussed this year, and I don't necessarily think it's in a bad way, it's just like, think about, if you want to talk about how loaded this Kentucky team is from a talent standpoint, think about the conversation 6 months ago. Justin Edwards is probably going to be the top 3 pick in the NBA draft or something. And, he's not even been the top 3 player on this particular team. And I don't necessarily think that's the fault of Justin Edwards. I think it's just look at how much all these other guys have emerged and become great players, right? Whether it's DJ Wagner. I mean, look how good they are when he's on the floor versus not on the floor. It's just he's a big game changer for them. And, of course, Reeves and Dillingham. Trey Mitchell's been out a little bit. Reed Shepherd's been fantastic. So I don't know what he's talking about there because I think we've done nothing this year but kind of praise his players. We can say they don't play great defense, which is true, but I don't think anybody's taken aim at a specific player this season. So, yeah, I was also one that just a Cal thing, I guess. So
It is, and you almost count on it. I've got them winning tonight, but going 3-3 in this final 6. I have them winning tonight, losing against Bama at Rupp Arena, losing at State, beating Arkansas, beating Vandy, and losing at Thompson Bowling.
Yeah, I could see that. I think Bama's the kind of team that will give them absolute fit. And the thing is, I could see Alabama losing tonight to Florida because I think Florida's playing as well as anybody at times over the past month. I mean, they've lost one game January 16th, and I think the problem I have with Florida is they're kind of like Alabama in that, sometimes they let teams hang around a little bit too much. Now, Alabama hasn't recently. They've just been blowing people out, but it's the defensive aspect. Alabama, I think, has gotten a lot better defensively. Florida, I don't know how much better they're getting defensively. I think they're good, but I don't know if they're to the level they need to be to win a lot of these games. But tonight should be, take the over. I don't know what it is, but both these teams, I think, are going to score a lot of points. And so, yeah, these are the kind of teams which we've seen. We've seen Florida win and Rupp. Alabama, I think, again, just like Florida, they can, put a lot of pressure on a team like Kentucky. And so we always say it, Brett, when you get to the NCAA tournament, it's all about the matchups. And if I'm Kentucky, there are certain teams that I'm just probably scared to death of based on, just kind of the makeup of where they are. But we'll see again. Do they play defense tonight? If they do, hey, that's 3 games in a row, and maybe they are turning the corner.
I'm looking at Jerry Palm's bracket, and Jerry's already going daily update. And he was on this morning with Greg and Eli on our station, as he is throughout college football and college basketball season. And here's your first round matchup. Kentucky should lay awake at night, scared of. It's in Pittsburgh, and Cal will love that. That's home for him. I don't blame him. I would be proud to be going back home too. That is not a shot at John Calipari. I got several shots for him, but that's not one. But the matchup against Grand Canyon, look out.
Boy.
Oh man, wow.
No thanks. That's a team I mentioned to you guys last week. I said that's a team that I would keep an eye on. They're 24-2 now. I know they play in the WAC. You're going to say, well, they're not that impressive. They've won some close games against bad teams. But I'm telling you, I've seen that team a little bit, again, as much as you can watch the WAC. But I really like what Bryce Drew has there. He's got an older team. They've got size. There's a lot to like. And so that would be a worrisome matchup, I think, for Kentucky in round 1.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That would be that would not be fun for John Calipari getting ready for that one. Well, you mentioned Florida and kind of similar team to Alabama and a big one tonight against the Tide. But what have you seen this year? I really like the hire of Todd Golden when they made it from San Francisco. But last year, obviously first year, still trying to get his feet wet in the SEC, and this year now specifically in conference play, it really looks like he is starting to turn things around and kind of go with his brand of basketball. What have you seen that has most stuck out to you about Todd Golden since he has taken that job at Florida?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the knock, I think, on Golden coming into the season was, and they were a little disappointing last year. I thought they could have gotten more out of what they had, but they had some injuries, of course, with Castleton and such, and they couldn't put it all together. And then this season started, and you started to see them lose the big games early, and that was the knock, right? Their record last year, I think, was like 1-12 or something.
Yeah.
Against teams that were like in the Ken Palm top 50 or whatever it is. And, they lost the first 3 this year against those kind of teams. You're thinking, all right, are they going to beat any good teams? Because that's what you got to do to get to the tournament. And that's what they've done over the past month. Like, they started beating good teams. They beat Mississippi State. They went at Kentucky. They blow out Auburn, a game that wasn't even close. I mean, 16-point game. It felt like a 30-point game. And so now that they're doing that, I'll tell you what I really like about what they're doing is you said it, Brian. I think they're embracing the style they want to play, and they're leaning into the strengths of the guys they have. Their four guards, I mean, perimeter players, they're as good as it gets when those guys are on and playing really well. They can match up with anybody in the SEC. But I think the underrated thing about Florida, their big guys have come along so well. I mean, I was really high on Tyrese Samuel coming from the Big East, just a physical guy that you knew would be able to, kind of blend into the SEC where it's going to be physical night in, night out, as we always see with the Arkansas and Texas A&M specials like we got last night, 73 free throws. You just know it's going to be a physical, aggressive game. But it's all the other guys. It's the guys that, the underclassmen, like Ken Logden, of course, who was at Marshall. He's been really good for them. Alex Condon, a freshman. Thomas Howe, guys like that who are really playing well in the front court. They've established a great team with depth, and I think that's what you got to have. Again, I want to see them play better defense and not just let teams hang around like they have at Georgia, LSU, teams like that. But if they can kind of start to do what Alabama did and just get better consistently on defense, Florida's got the package you need, I think, to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament.
Blake, I think it's pretty understood that the player of the year in the SEC this year will be Dalton Connect, and he's moving up in all the draft boards. I even saw one where the Grizzlies possibly would take him in the lottery, and he turns 23 before opening night next year. Now, I know some of these birthdays for the current Grizzlies will roll over, but right now, Santi Aldama, 23. Matt Hurt, 23. Gigi Jackson, 19. Jaren Jackson, 24. Dalton Connect's only a year younger than Jaren Jackson. Trey Jemison, 24. Jake LaRavia, 22. Ja Moran, I know, turned 25 before opening night. Scottie Pippen Jr., 23. Zaire Williams, 22 right now. Vince Williams, 23. Will that hurt Connect? Will his age hurt him with the draft because of the, I'm sorry for using this word, but it's true, the amortization schedule?
Well, I how, I mean, like you said, it's always something that's going to be talked about, especially when you just look around and, like you mentioned, you can pull up an NBA roster like the Grizzlies and say, all right, here's the ages, and here's the guy we're thinking about drafting, and all the capital that's going to go into that for someone that is older than, guys that we're already paying a lot of money to, and maybe, again, feel like, I don't know, like, is it worth the value and that kind of stuff? I would normally say maybe, but now I think when you just look at the body of work that he's assembled, I mean, the more I study it, and I don't try to just look at SEC guys. I try to look at other guys too around the country, the guys who I feel like maybe are closest to someone like that. I just don't see many guys out there that have the skill set that he has. And I don't know that we've seen guys in recent years that have what he has whenever he gets going, right? I mean, last night's game's a great example. I mean, he was 0 for whatever in the first half. But then it's like he just turns it on, and it's the smoothest thing you'll see on a basketball court. Like, he has all the skills. He has all the things that NBA teams are looking for in terms of, can you put the ball in the basket, and can you do it effortlessly? Like,
orange ball through orange goal. That's it.
Right. That's all you got to do. And, like, he does it as well as anybody in the entire country. And so I think because it's
But so did Adam Morrison, and so did Jimmer Fredette.
That is a great point. They did, and absolutely. And so I'm curious, just like you are, to see maybe how they go about this. But, boy, I look at this guy, and I just feel like he's different than other guys I've seen before in terms of just looking at the overall skill set, the physical makeup, all these other things. I'm really excited to see how he kind of fits into wherever he lands. So.
Well, I want to ask you before we let you go about another player that I've heard people throw out for Conference Player of the Year, and Mark Sears from Alabama, and they'll be going up against Florida tonight. But really, really good. His last 5 games, he's scored 21 points or more. He's averaging about 20.5 points per game this year. What do you like most about Mark Sears' game?
Yeah, I think what's interesting about Sears is, like, we talk about, like, effortlessly. It's like sometimes people look up at Alabama, like, all right, they're clearly the best offensive team in the country. They just put up 100 again, whatever. Right. Ho-hum, it's Alabama. But it's like when you see the way that he gets his, knowing that every time out, everybody knows that Mark Sears is the best offensive player on the floor in any game, unless Dalton Connect's on the floor, for the other team.
Right.
And so I think it's just he's going off screens. He's trying to work to get open. It's just like this guy just keeps going and going and going. He keeps finding ways to take shots and make shots. And I also think he's underrated in terms of just getting everybody else involved. Because, again, he's not scoring 100 points on his own.
Right.
He's responsible for getting everybody else involved in terms of making sure that the game flows the way that Nate Oates needs it to flow to play that style and to be effective. And so, again, he's an older guy. We all remember, kind of the heroics, being for a team like Ohio, right? They were having success. And I think that's just something that has paid off over the years now, being, on a team like last year, having as big of a role as he did on the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. Now he just carries that over into what is just it's a different team than it was last year. But as we're seeing, different makeup, but same kind of success. And so he has. I know
you remember this guy, and Bryant remember him very well. His year and his story reminds me a lot of Jeremiah Martin's here at Memphis. Yeah. Jeremiah Martin, I think, played in 7 games as a freshman. Sears played in 5 at Ohio. And then by the end of his college basketball time, you look up and he's played over 100 games.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. I mean, sometimes it's pretty easy in this game. If you can just get on the floor and you play a lot of minutes, you're going to learn some things. Right. Like, you're going to figure out how to get past defenses, how to do all these different things. And he's just someone that's gotten better year after year after year.
Old man basketball.
Yeah, it's old man basketball. That's it. You don't have to be flashy. Mark Sears isn't flashy. He just goes out and makes plays and makes shots. It's pretty simple.
Absolutely. Well, it's a really good slate of games tonight in the SEC and some fun games this weekend as well. But, Blake, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Blake.
Thank you, Blake, so much. Thank you. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. Do you like the Jeremiah Martin?
I do. That's a really good comparison. Brett, if talking about recent Tigers that have played, Jeremiah Martin is one of my favorites. So I like that comparison a lot.
My 2 favorite Penny Tigers, Jeremiah Martin and Kendrick Davis.
Got to be. I mean, those two are certainly up there, and I think a lot of people would agree. I mean,
I know DeAndre would be way up there with a lot of people.
Absolutely. But, I mean, that 1 year of Jeremiah Martin, his senior season, I mean, unbelievable, just those games. And kind of like what Blake was saying about Mark Sears, I mean, Jeremiah made it look effortless. I mean, it looked like it was easy for him out there, and, just didn't look like he was trying too hard. Just went out there, and when you'd look up and he'd have, 25 points.
You know who I almost wanted to compare Mark Sears to, but I would get burned so badly when in about 4 years. So I'm glad I didn't compare him to Jalen Brunson at Villanova.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but I wanted to.
It's not a bad comparison at all. I mean, it's
pretty and all left-handers look the same,
sure,
don't they?
Absolutely. Yes, I get that a lot too as a left-hander. I mean, everybody looks alike when they are left-handed, but no, Mark Sears is a good player, and that's going to be a really fun game tonight, Florida and Alabama.
It's a big march for Nate Oates.
Sure.
I mean, I'm tired of hearing, hey, we make shots, we can beat anybody. Well, what if you don't, Coach?
Yeah.
Well, what's plan B?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And down there, plan B, spring football, the A-Day game's coming up.
Sure. Well,
No. I'm talking basketball.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the same thing that people say about Creighton. Creighton gets the big win last night against UConn, but they're so reliant on their three-point shooting that, they could go out and make 14 like they did last night against UConn and win by 20, or they could go out and make 5 or 6 and end up losing to a game they should win. But let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk some college football.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better? I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
Whether this is your first February with your significant other or your 5th or your 30th, when they say, I don't want anything special for Valentine's Day, what they mean is, take me to a fancy dinner at 117 Prime, Memphis's premier dining destination. Another thing you may not know is Valentine's Day dinners at Prime don't have to be on Valentine's Day. It could be any time in February, the month of love. 117 Prime is the most romantic thing you could do for somebody other than taking them to Paris. Let the romance experts at 117 Prime make this the Valentiniest Valentine's ever.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund has belonged to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax-confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Here's some hard truth about engagement rings. There are 10 premier designers every woman knows about. They're like the Mercedes or Louis Vuitton of engagement rings. World class, iconic, quality names. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and these designers are hard to get. And every jewelry store wants them, but very few make the cut. So they have to settle for lesser brands or knockoffs. Around here, there's only one jewelry store that offers these premium rings. It's Genesis Diamonds. Genesis is the only one that made the cut, that meets the highest standards. Genesis is the only store that's allowed to offer these exceptional brands that women really want. Other stores are jealous of this and will try and convince you these are more expensive and try to get you to settle for something else. But the truth is, Genesis has top quality designer rings for under $2,000. It's not about price, it's about craftsmanship and quality and detail and individuality. So don't compromise. Get her a world-class ring she will be proud to wear. Genesis Diamonds on Poplar at Perkins Extended.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. They're working this accident 240 westbound at Sam Cooper. It's already slow over in the eastbound lanes, just like it was yesterday. Again, expect delays out here on 240 east. Right when you come past 385, just crawls along up by Poplar towards Walnut Grove until you get past Sam Cooper. But again, they're working this wreck over in the westbound lanes of 240 here at Sam Cooper. A lot of rubbernecking going on associated with this crash. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Memphis. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging at TomahawkCrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and we've talked a lot of basketball today, but some college football news going on around the country. We've got some meetings with the commissioners going on today.
A lot of meetings.
We're getting to that time of the year, Brett, where everyone's got to meet about everything, and we're there today. And any time now we could be hearing some news from these meetings.
Yeah, I'm expecting kind of that Heather Dinich tweet.
Mm-hmm.
She that's her job is to cover the CFP for ESPN.com. She does it very well. Ready for that, because it feels like tonight, maybe first thing in the morning, we'll get a lot more news. We do know the 12-team playoff, and I think we're moving towards 16. And the announcement of where the TV will be, I think it's going to be mostly ESPN. but they can sell some of those games off to other networks. But here's what we know we have for this coming December of 2024. On Friday night, December 20th, will be that one standalone college football game in the college football playoff this year.
Yep.
I don't know what seeds it will be. I don't know where it'll be. And I've said I fear, I almost will predict that could be maybe even a streaming type game.
Yeah.
Then that Saturday, the 21st, we'll have we'll have 3 playoff games, kind of the noonish, 3-ish, 7 o'clock type schedule for Central Time. Then on December 31st, one college football game quarterfinal. On January 1, we will have 3 quarterfinal games. Again, kind of morning, noon, and afternoon. On January 9th, one college football semifinal game. On January 10th, the other college football semifinal game. On January 11th, NFL wildcard games. On the 12th, NFL wildcard games. On Monday the 13th, one standalone NFL wildcard game. On January 18th, divisional games in the NFL. January 19th, divisional games. And on Monday, January 20th, the College Football National Championship game.
Brett, I mean, what a great time that's going to be. It's going to be unbelievable.
That Monday, January 20th, and that is the national observance for federal holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King. So we'll have basketball in Memphis that afternoon, probably 4-ish, 5-ish, like always, and then get home from that if you go to that, and the College Football Playoff National Championship game will be on TV, and it will also be Inauguration Day, so college football will save us from every network going to the dopey balls.
That's great. We can get away from it. Go watch some football. I think everyone would rather do that instead of watching
Everybody would rather do that. And in December, so that Saturday the 21st, I suspect some bowl games will be played maybe even that Thursday. That's usually the weekend. We like to fire up kind of the Cura Bowl and the Bahamas Bowl and games like that. And it's all those games are programming for ESPN.
Absolutely.
I would suspect maybe an afternoon game on Thursday the 19th, and even a game early in the day, the 20th, may be leading into the college football playoff game. Then on Saturday, I don't know how you would schedule any against those 3 games.
I think that would be a really bad decision because you know where the eyes are going to go, especially first year of it. Everybody's going to want to watch these playoff games. I think everyone's going to want to continue to watch these playoff games because they're going to be unbelievable matchups. But especially year one, I would stay far, far away from those days that we were getting college, especially when you're getting a whole day of it. Maybe, like you said, if you have a night game and you could have a game mid-afternoon or something that leads into it. But I want to stay far away from those games while they're happening.
And on Sunday the 22nd, it'll be all NFL. The afternoon of Monday the 23rd, I could see a college football game that day leading into Monday Night Football. Sure. The 24th, kind of always the Hawaii Bowl, and maybe one other mid-afternoon. Nothing on the 25th, and then games on the 26th. It'll be a lot of bowl games on the 26th. So it will be important to see where those post-Christmas bowl games get their dates, because you don't want to battle a Sunday against the NFL. No. So Sunday the 29th and even Monday the 30th, you won't want to battle it. You sure won't go up against it on Monday Night Football. Right. It's going to be hard to find a place for those games. And so next year, 16 teams in the SEC. Let's say out of those 16 teams, 5 get in the playoffs. Let's go Georgia, Texas, Alabama, and then the other 2 could be an assortment of people. It could be either Ole Miss, Mizzou, Tennessee, LSU. Right. It could be a bunch of different teams. But let's go those 5. Well, that takes down that you can have a bowl team for the SEC. And I'm really thinking about the Liberty Bowl in this case, where you're down to 11. Well, 3 or 4 won't qualify. Right. Probably.
Yeah.
So let's say it's 4. That takes you down to 7. Well, Citrus still gets a team.
Yep.
Tampa gets a team. Jacksonville gets a team. Nashville gets a team. And Houston gets a team. That's 5. Slim pickings.
Oh, I didn't think about that, but that's a really good point.
Slim pickings at a construction site.
I think we're going to see a lot of that. I'm worried we're going to see a lot of that because I did not think about that possibility, but you're absolutely right. I mean, if you have a successful season in the conference, it doesn't just have to be the SEC with their bowl games, but Big Ten, is kind of in the same boat where if you send 5 teams or 4 teams even, and you've got those 3 or 4 teams that really struggle. I mean, somebody's got to struggle in the conference.
Simple math.
It's just simple math. And especially if you have multiple teams going to the college football playoffs, you're going to have 3 or 4 teams at the bottom that aren't bowl eligible, and it's going to get slim.
And the SEC has never been that enamored by the fairgrounds, by Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium.
No.
They're sure not going to be enamored by it, and you need a hard hat on walking around.
No, absolutely not. No, certainly not with the construction going on. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to pose a big situation and kind of a dilemma for not just the Liberty Bowl, but a couple of bowls this year, especially this year being that first year. And like you said, trying to figure out dates for these bowl games. And I mean, I think there's a lot, and I'm now starting to think about it because you're bringing it up. I think there are a lot of things that people aren't thinking about right now in terms of just postseason college football because kind of all of our focus right now is on this college football playoffs.
And it will start this year, and you give it 2 or 3 years, the entire energy will be the playoff.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Especially how it's going like that when you really break it down, like, it seemed like it really hurts some of the bowls, man. It hurt a lot of bowls, man, that you never thought that would get hurt, but you looking so forward to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Johnny, it hurts the post 27th, 28th of December bowls more than it does famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Yeah, when you really break it down like that. And I really didn't think of it until you really painted that picture, like, man, people not thinking about it right now because everybody thinking about the playoffs. Like, I'm looking forward to the playoff, but you not even thinking about some of the bowls, man. A lot of the bowls, they're going to get hurt and affected by this.
It will be a playoff-centric world we live in.
So, Brett, do you think we get news about a 16-team playoff in the future this week or soon? Or do you think that comes next year, later down the road?
Well, they love to meet. And to have more meetings, you can't give up too much right now.
That's true.
But you got to start making plans.
Got to.
And they know that.
Oh yeah. No, I mean they're not dumb. They're not going to wait around sitting on their thumbs until next year and get to next offseason and go, "Wait a minute. That was just for that year. We got to do something going forward."
You'll get the news of the 16, and then you're going to get the news of a guaranteed number of bids for Big Ten and SEC. Yeah. And a lot of the college football world will be on fire over that. But the SEC and the Big Ten, they know they're the focal point of the sport, they're tired of dragging along Liberty.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I mean, with what they've done with expansion and the teams that they're going to have in their conference,
and going to expand more,
and the TV deals that just those conferences alone are able to go out and get, It does not surprise me at all that they would get certain amount of teams that would be automatically in.
All right, I missed on the timing of it. I had a good feeling that last summer was going to be summer of upheaval.
Right.
And it just took forever for it to get started. Waited till, the 29th, 30th of July to do it. I thought it would be earlier, and yes, I thought the University of Memphis would be announced in the Big 12 last year. I didn't see the complete disintegration of the Pac-12.
I don't think many people did.
And when that happened, that severely hurt Memphis.
Absolutely.
It really did. I think Memphis would be playing in the Big 12 fall of 2024 if it hadn't have been for that. I don't think this summer has quite the movement last summer had, but I would bet that the news comes earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I would expect early rather than later, and I'm excited. I mean, I think, like you said,
maybe even some announcing we're July 1.
Really,
we're proud members of.
Oh wow!
Now the football schedule can't change for this year, but basketball can.
Sure, absolutely.
For next year in baseball.
That would be interesting. No, I'm excited. I mean, like you said, to start this segment, I think we're going to get news very soon of what has come about the meetings today and what kind of happened. But we already got 5 and 7, so we know that. Maybe we'll get some more news before we get out of here today, or before we get on the air tomorrow to talk more about what kind of the future of college football looks like. Let's go ahead and grab another break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the all-new TaylorMade QI10 Max Driver, combining TaylorMade distance with the forgiveness of 10K inertia. Experience your drives in 10K. Visit us in-store for a free custom fitting at your local Edwin Watts Golf Shops, or shop us online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
It's a new year, and Family Leisure has a new way to bring family and fun together. All you have to do is walk into Family Leisure and look around. All those floor model patio sets you see, those have got to go. So Family Leisure can make room for all the new sets coming. Get a wicker sofa set for under $2,000. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating for under $2,000. Hot tubs for $4,000, or just for yourself. If you really want to lounge, they're under $5,000. Need patio cushions? Get them as low as $25. Oh, have you seen those infrared steam saunas? Well, now they and the traditional saunas are 25% off. It may just be the first few weeks of 2024, but that doesn't mean you can't start getting ready for summer. 2 final things. Purchase your above-ground pool now and get first in line for installation, and take advantage of special financing that's available. Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, bringing the family and the fun back together.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms: irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals, and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe in 2024. We can't wait to serve you.
It's leap year, so jump into big savings at Gossett Kia on the Pike. New 2024 Kia Forte LXS gets 41 MPG, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. How about 7-passenger seating? Get 2023 Kia Sorento LX, $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 2024 Kia Telluride LX, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease, and don't forget, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000 4,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So call Bobby J to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE 722-812, MSRP 21,590, Sorrento PG 242710, MSRP 33,010, Telluride RG 462-822, MSRP 38,705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
I completely forgot about the sounder we play to start this segment, and I almost had a heart attack just now. That scared me. The goal horn scared me to death. I was not a fan of that. Brett, I think you should go first today.
Okay.
Oh, come on, Brett.
My number is 323.
Okay.
323. As in 3 hours and 23 minutes. That was the average college football game length last year, and that was 5 minutes less than 2022. And they're promising even more next year to move it along. I think you will see the clock running even later in the game after incomplete passes.
Man, wow. I love the number,
That's
Brett.
A really good big number.
I love the number.
I got a second one if you need it.
Oh, go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
483,670,889.
What a number, bro.
That's dollars, as in the North Carolina Athletics Endowment, and that's the biggest in the country. Just in the athletics endowment, $500 million.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Never mind what they have for academics, sitting over in a trust fund.
Right. No, that's a crazy big number. That's really good stuff. My big number, I'm really excited about my big number today.
What you got, Dakis?
21. That's my big number today.
Okay.
Blackjack.
Bingo. After losing last night to Creighton, UConn is now 0-21 against ranked opponents. They've lost the last 21 games on the road against ranked opponents. 0-21.
Is that right?
Since 2014. The last time they won a ranked game on the road.
They won it all in 14 with Napier and Boatwright.
That's correct. Johnny, I'll let you guess. Who do you think was the last ranked team that UConn beat on the road? Brett heard my slip up, and he knows it.
Oh, Brett. I'm passing it to Brett. I'm passing it to Brett.
Johnny.
I can't think of one right now.
The last win on the road was in 2014. They've lost their last 21 games on the road to ranked teams. Who was the last team they beat?
I didn't catch it. I'm going to guess Memphis.
It was Memphis. I almost said Memphis when I was saying UConn.
How can I miss that,
let it go.
And it was irritating at the time. You know, in 2014, the AAC tournament, the first AAC tournament was here, and the UConn people were mad as hornets over being here. They thought from day one the AAC was something beneath them. Right. And they were saying, I mean, just openly, their media, we should be in something better than this. And they had to throw football overboard, but they did it. And you can't really argue with the move they made.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, it's worked out. I mean, a national champion, and then now, one of, I think, the three, if you said, Houston, UConn, or Purdue, I think a lot of people would say it's going to come out of that field. So, I mean, it's
I started to ask Blake Lovell this, and I will next week, and probably will get to this over the next few weeks with Kevin Sweeney and other basketball guests. Biggest preseason thing you got right and you got wrong. Well, for me, it's easy. The biggest I got wrong is Arkansas winning it all. But I did have Creighton in my Final Four, remember?
You did. Yeah, you did.
Had Kansas and Purdue. That was my four final in Arkansas. Thing I got right for now, we'll see. And it's going to be just land the airplane. Chris Beard goes to the tournament his first year at Ole Miss.
Oh yeah, I mean there's getting some turbulence up there right now.
It's a lot. It's a lot going on. Ole Miss next 6 tonight at Starkville. Okay. I don't think they'll win tonight. No. South Carolina at home Saturday. It's not easy. Bama at home midweek next week. The following Saturday at Mizzou, and then midweek the final week at Georgia, and the last day of the year against A&M at home.
Wow.
There's no gimme in there, not even at Mizzou.
Not at all. I mean,
for Mizzou.
That is a extremely tough stretch to end the season for Ole Miss. And you're right. I mean, try to land that plane, and
they could go anything but 6-0 and 5-1 in that stretch.
Oh, easily.
06, 1-5, 2-4.
Just throwing darts at this point of what they would be, because I mean it really is. I mean that is even those home games. I mean South Carolina at home, Alabama at home. I understand that we've seen at a way higher rate this year. It's harder for teams.
How wounded will A&M be? There could be a forget about it factor for A&M too that Saturday.
Absolutely could be, and that would be great for Ole Miss, but. Whew, that's tough. And even, Missouri, I mean, on the road against Missouri could be scary at times for sure. But, it's looking now with Texas A&M, like you said, the checkout factor. I mean, we were just talking yesterday about them being an 11 seed, and I haven't checked Jerry Palm's updated bracket. I'm guessing he has them out now after that loss last night against Arkansas.
He does. They're the second team of the first 4 out, so they're second out.
Wow.
Butler, A&M, Oregon, Seton Hall. Jerry Palm's last 4 in, Nebraska, Colorado, Cincinnati, Gonzaga.
Wow. So I like that. I like those teams, but, we were talking, I mean, it feels like just a couple days ago we were, they were saying 9 teams in from the SEC, and we were kind of saying, it feels like 8. And now, it could be
whittling down to maybe 7.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting how these teams finish the
season. Any way you
SEC.
See American getting 3?
No. I think at most is 2, and that would be Florida Atlantic finishing the season well, and then somebody else winning the conference. I think that's the only way they get to.
Here's the brutal math for it, even for the Tigers, unless they go on the run and win the automatic qualifying bid with winning the postseason tournament. 89 net. If they win on Sunday against FAU, that's now at 33, it hurts FAU's net.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean,
that is true.
It's just tough. And now, I mean, for the Tigers, I think they're a quad 3 game for other teams right now. And so, I mean, you're seeing that.
Fourth in the AAC in net at 89.
Crazy. But, and I think who would those 2 teams be? I mean, I think whoever, I really think it'd be whoever, because you look at the teams, Charlotte right now, the metrics don't love. USF, the metrics don't love. I just don't see another team outside of Florida Atlantic making the tournament unless they won the conference.
I do think Fort Worth will be wide open.
No, absolutely. I think it's anybody.
I don't have a good feeling about Memphis filling the void.
I don't either. It's where they're at right now. It's a lot.
Tonight will tell a lot of it.
It will, and a win would be a step in the right direction. But we need to go ahead and wrap up this hour, get to a break, and when we come back, we're talking more college basketball with Kevin Sweeney.
Looking for your next car? Give Car Corner a try. Car Corner, located at 2653 Mount Moriah. They specialize in cars under $15,000. Bad credit? No problem at Car Corner. CarCornerMemphis.com. That's CarCornerMemphis.com. They even have cash cars under $7,000. That's Car Corner at 2653 Mount Moriah. CarCornerMemphis.com. Look for the building with the teal green roof.
Yo, Mark, long time no see. You still down at Dyer's?
Man, I'm not down at Dyer's. I'm out at Collierville Historic Town Square.
When'd you move out there?
We've been out there for about 13 years. We've got the shops, the park. We got the train the kids like to play on.
You still cooking those burgers the old-fashioned way?
Man, we're still flattening out those hamburger balls on a slab of marble and skillet frying them the old-fashioned way like they've been doing for 100 years.
Dude, you still have those onion rings.
Man, they're fantastic. Hand-breaded, served up just right.
I loved those milkshakes. milkshakes. Please tell me you're still doing those.
Man, we are hand dipping those shakes, putting them in the old glass, and the shake tin served the old-fashioned way.
You got any new items out there I need to know about?
We're just doing a lot of gourmet sandwiches. We've got farm-raised catfish straight out of the Delta. We've got some hot tamales from Pasquale's Tamales out of Helena, Arkansas.
Man, are they served in the husk?
What those guys like to say, they're so good, you'll suck the shuck.
Go see my buddy Mark at Dyer's Cafe in Collierville's historic town square.
This year, Dell Technologies wants to help you do amazing things with their best tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
O'Reilly.
You need parts? O'Reilly Auto Parts has parts. Need them fast? We've got fast. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkheimer for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. What a great time to buy a new or used car or truck and save money at Sunrise. The largest selection in over a year, over 500 new Buicks and GMCs to choose from, an $8 million used car inventory. See them all at sunrisememphis.com. Factory rebates up to $6,000 and Sunrise discounts high as $10,000. Immediate financing available with loans low as 0% on select models. Cars and trucks under $10,000. When it comes to selection and savings, it doesn't get any better than this, partner. Come on in and save some money at Sunrise. Coming to Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And joining us now to talk some college basketball, Kevin Sweeney from CBB Central. Go follow him on Twitter at CBB_Central. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. And we've got to start with the probably biggest story in college basketball today, and that's what Creighton did last night at home over UConn, an 85-66 win for Creighton. They made 14 threes in that victory. What do you think about this Creighton team? Do you trust them with how much they rely on the three ball? Do you trust them to make a run again in the tournament? And then what do you think about this UConn loss? What does this UConn loss mean for that team?
I don't think it means a ton for UConn.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, eventually they were going to get picked off by someone. Creighton shut the lights out. Crazy atmosphere in Omaha. Like, no huge concerns there. Creighton's a very unique team. Defensively, they're able to defend the rim with Kalkbrenner. I thought they did a phenomenal job running guys off the three-point line. Did a great job scouting report-wise. Awesome performance. For Creighton, like, I think the upside's high. Like, I think they can make another second weekend, maybe even push for a Final Four. I mean, I truly believe that, the way that they've played since Stephen Ashworth has really turned it on. Mm-hmm. This transfer to Utah State, athletically probably kind of limited at this level. Early in the season really struggled. I thought it capped their upside. since then he's been really good. Last 11 games, averaging 15, 4, and 5, shooting 39% from three, had 20 to lead all scorers yesterday. You add him to, Baylor Shireman and Trey Alexander and Kalkbrenner, like that's a scary team, and I think that's kind of where they are finally now.
Bryant, we know Mike Miller's son's on that team. Is there another Memphian on that team?
Jonathan Lawson's there, and I believe maybe a walk-on from the area is also up there. So I know they at least have 2, maybe even 3 guys from here locally.
Right. And Kevin, last night, you give me a team that makes 14 threes and only has 7 turnovers, and that's how the 16 beats the 1. Anybody can win those kind of games.
Yeah, 100%, especially when you have a crowd like that. I mean, that atmosphere was phenomenal. Creighton had never won against the number 1 team, so it was pretty special night there. And kudos to what Greg McDermott's built. His name is kind of come up in carousel conversations, and for good reason with the job that he's done.
I said a little bit earlier that I thought privately on the inside, Danny Hurley loved what happened last night. His players won't love practice today and tomorrow, but I bet he liked kind of everybody sports-wise sobering up a little bit.
Yeah, look, I think especially when you dominate Marquette the way that they did, I feel like there was a lot of anointing this UConn team as, here they go, they're going to repeat. And I just think toughness-wise, occasionally they need a reminder, right? And that's certainly a good one. I thought Hurley's comments were very comparable to what he said after their other Big East loss, Seton Hall. Like, we just weren't ready to play. We didn't come with the right energy. Like, we didn't understand that, like, we're the national champs. People want to go get us. And I think that's not going away. I think in the tournament, I think the target will be on their back even bigger than it has been all year.
Yeah.
I think they have the team to overcome that, but they're also not infallible, right? I mean, look, I hate there's no elite teams discourse. Like, I think it's stupid. Like, no one has a definition for elite. They just love to say that there's no elite teams. I think UConn's really good, but no one's unbeatable in college basketball, and we certainly learned that last night.
Well, that kind of leads me right into my next question. I've seen a lot of people, especially since UConn's loss last night, kind of arguing over who's the best team in the country. And you got Purdue, who just lost over the weekend to Ohio State. You've got UConn, obviously coming off their loss last night, with both teams playing extremely well this season. You've also got Houston, who I know Kim Pom has had as their number 1 team for a really long time in terms of analytics this season. Where do you sit on who the best team in the country is right now?
Look, I think nothing should have changed based on the last week, right? If you were a Purdue guy last Sunday, it shouldn't have changed to the Ohio State. If you're a UConn guy last night, it shouldn't have changed, right? Like, I have generally believed Purdue's the best team in the country all year. I think when you have an elite point guard and an elite center, you can maneuver a lot around that and still be pretty darn good. So I think I would be inclined to take them. I think UConn probably has the highest ceiling. And then there's a lot of teams that have been as good as Purdue and UConn on individual nights, just haven't had the consistency level that those two have had. And I think you could group a lot of teams in that group: Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, Arizona, Houston, Iowa State, North Carolina, Duke, etc. I think all those teams have the ceiling to be up there with those. They just don't have the consistency we've seen from Purdue and UConn.
It could set up finally, perfectly, for Purdue to get their first national championship, Matt Painter to get it and be welcomed into the, winning a major. He's at or near the top of the best coaches out there that hadn't won a national championship that's active coaching. If they don't, if they thought last winter was a long winter, this one's really going to be.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think for starters, Painter just has to get to a Final Four, right? Obviously,
I agree with that.
Winning the championship would be everything, and it would be a truly amazing story. I think in some ways even better than the Virginia one, just because of how much it has mounted over the years and all the criticism and all the history at Purdue of coming up short. I think if they can make a Final Four and prove that they have what it takes to win in March, and they just come up short, right? Like, that would be it would feel like validation for what they've built over a long period of time. Just like, look, I mean, Virginia needed that foul on the 3 by Samir Dowdy in that 2019 Final Four game to get through, right? Mm-hmm. Like, little things. You need so many breaks. I don't think if Purdue doesn't get every break, they're all of a sudden not worth what they've accomplished over the last several years. But they got to make a run, and so if nothing else, the Final Four would mean everything in West Lafayette.
Yeah. Another result that stood out last night was Arkansas on the road against Texas A&M with a big win. That's now a season sweep for Arkansas over Texas A&M. And this is an A&M team that we've talked about throughout the season, team that a lot of people thought could win the SEC this year. And now currently Jerry Palm over at CBS Sports updated his bracket today and has Texas A&M as the second team in the first 4 out. What do you make of Texas A&M and what this season has become? And do you think they can play their way back into the tournament?
Yeah, they certainly have opportunities. I mean, at Tennessee this weekend, South Carolina next week, Mississippi State and Ole Miss still on the schedule. Like, they're going to have some chance to get wins. But winning big games hasn't been their problem. It's the bad losses. Right. They have 4 quad 3 losses. That's the most of any bubble team. Villanova has 3. They're kind of on the outside looking in to most people. Look, it's just really hard to be a tournament team when you shoot the ball as poorly as Texas A&M does. 357th nationally in 3-point percentage. Like, I just think it's unsustainable. You're going to have bad nights like this, and they've had too many of them lately, and have dug themselves a hole, right? I mean, look, obviously everyone remembers that Buzz Williams rant a couple years ago when they were just left out of. I don't understand how we could have been left out. Where's the data? Where's this, that? Like, the data is don't lose at home to the corpse of Arkansas. Don't lose to Vanderbilt, right? Like, it's not rocket science here. If they miss the tournament, what will have caused their demise?
Yeah.
How does it end for Juwan Howard this season?
This season, not well. I mean, just lost Olivier Kamala with transfer to Tennessee for the year. Look, I mean, they're going to set a record for most losses in a season in program history. And look, in my opinion, if I was Juwan Howard, I would want this to be the end for me at Michigan, because I don't want to go out like Patrick Ewing. Right? I mean, that was so toxic by the end, and it's so challenging with the former players and guys who mean so much for the program. If you come back and you are terrible again, the optics, I mean, like, your resume at the place will be forever stained. And I don't want that for Juwan Howard. He's, by all accounts, like a pretty good human being. He's, obviously meant a lot to Michigan. Yes, outbursts here, outbursts there, but like, I think generally he's well liked around the sport and certainly around Ann Arbor. And I just think it'd be best for all parties if we said, all right, I'm not the right person at this moment to lead this program. Let's restart, and I'll be around. I'll be our biggest supporter, and I'll go coach in the NBA, or I'll be in Ann Arbor and spend time with my kids and spend time with my family. Like, something has to change, because the trajectory is really, really poor.
Is it a cautionary tale for us here in Memphis to watch what's happening to him at Michigan?
I think probably, yeah. Like, I think, again, Juwan and Penny are probably above Ewing in the standpoint that they at least have accomplished something in their coaching careers and won games, went to the NCAA tournament, et cetera. I think with Penny, the thing to watch is I do think he has adapted his philosophy at times throughout his time in Memphis, right? Obviously, early it was one and done. Then it went to portal. I'm curious to see how he adapts this spring, right? I think the thing that I've always struggled with a lot of the former NBA guys is they're very stuck in their ways, and they believe they're smarter than everyone else. And yes, I think you can get a sense of that with Penny at times, but I also think Penny's been willing enough to adapt and shift. And I hope that this spring brings a mindset shift in how we recruit. Like, I don't think if you're Memphis, you can attack the portal the same way that they have and say, oh, we'll take whoever we can get at the end, and guys who want money, guys who are in it for the biggest check possible, right? Like, you need to build a team.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that has been sorely lacking here over the last several weeks.
Over the weekend, Rick Pitino made headlines for his comments after the game about his team, their performance, called out a handful of players by name, saying they were, slow laterally and just, bad facilities at St. John's and players weren't that good this year. What did you make of his post-game presser in that loss that I think I saw at halftime? They had like a 93% chance of winning and scored like 4 points in the first 12 minutes of that second half that led to that post-game presser.
Yeah, disastrous performance. Look, I mean, Rick Pitino has never been one to take accountability for himself. That's just kind of par for the course. But I also think I didn't have the biggest problem with those comments. I felt, to me, like, first of all, I didn't think it was demeaning. I thought he was very direct about skills, right? Like,
sure.
Saying a player's not a good shooter, or he's not physical, or he's not, right? Like, he needs time in the weight room. Like, that's not that's not saying he's soft or he stinks or things like that. Like to me, those are two different things. And I think the other thing too is like if Rick Pitino is complaining all these kids aren't his type of kids and don't want to work hard and whatever. If the response to that is, oh, well, I can't take heat in the media or I'm going to walk away, then they weren't the right kids for you anyway, right? Like, if Rick Pitino wants tough kids, Rick Pitino has never been afraid to challenge kids in the media. I mean, he did it at Louisville. He did it at Kentucky. I mean, he's done it everywhere he's been in his coaching career. And I think if this scares guys off, they weren't the right fit anyway. I've seen the main criticism I've seen from people in college basketball is it's going to hurt them in recruiting. And again, I just don't know that I buy that because if Rick is only obsessed with getting the highest rated transfers, that's probably not going to yield the results that he wants anyway. This is what happened this past year, and then you look at the results.
He would have really hated David Jones's defense.
It is funny to think back on all the talents they had. And again, I don't blame him for moving those guys, wanting to go in a different direction. The culture at St. John's was horrific under Mike Anderson. Mm-hmm. That being said, there are some dudes, right? Like David, we can criticize David Jones' defense. They could use a David Jones on the St. John's.
He can make it happen on that offensive end.
Yes, he can.
He may give up 15, but he's going to score 20.
That's right. Over the weekend, we also had a big performance by Kentucky on the road at Auburn, a place that a lot of teams have really struggled. And we've now seen back-to-back performances where Kentucky has looked good on the defensive end of the court. What do you see kind of now with this Kentucky team? Do you think we're kind of turning a corner with the defense? Do you think that this will continue for them? And do you think we could be getting ready for a run for this young Kentucky Wildcats team?
Yeah, look, I want to see more.
Yeah.
I think the effort has been a lot better. I think that going into as tough an environment as Auburn was, I think probably actually helped them in a way because it made it, instead of, everything's how great you are and look how fantastic this Kentucky team, it's you got no shot, your back's against the wall. I think we felt this last year when they beat Tennessee. Like, I think there's a powerful thing for these one-and-done heavy teams to just be told that you suck all week. Right. And I think that's kind of what they dealt with. And look, they have so much talent. They should be better defensively than they've been. They should be better overall than they've been. I do think that it's still going to be a touch-and-go thing for them on that end of the floor just because they've got young guys whose effort is inconsistent, and they've got young guys who just make a lot of mistakes, miscommunications, whatever. I will say, I think playing Ugonna Onyenso, the sophomore big guy, a lot more at the 5 and a lot less of Aaron Bradshaw is a big positive for this team defensively. Bradshaw's a really rough defender right now. He's super talented. It's going to take time. Onyenso is an awesome rim protector, and I thought he did a phenomenal job on Janai Broom and Jalen Williams down low.
Kevin, we're going to see a real good battle of NIL boosters, big money with Reed Sheppard. I mean, to keep him one more year at Kentucky, I'm throwing numbers out here, but I think they could come up with $3-4 million to keep him another year. I don't think they can keep him 2. What do you think he will do? And he's moving up in drafts, but that's a guy, home state guy. Dad was MOP of the Final Four. Mom played there. That's one. If they want to keep him, they can for one more year.
Yeah, look, I think Reed probably. I don't think Reed came to Kentucky thinking he was one and done, and I don't think he just views it as another stop on the journey, right? Like, obviously, there's a certain level in draft stock that you just have to go, right? And if Reed Sheppard's going to be a lottery pick, it's hard to turn that down. But look, your whole life's ahead of you, and I think he grew up, the dream was to play in Kentucky, and why would you walk away from that dream early? So, yeah, they're going to have to pay. I don't know if it's 3 or 4. I think that's a huge number, but like Oscar Tshiebwe made 2. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the 1 somewhere. If you're Reed Sheppard, like make him feel loved and see if he wants to try to finish the dream. I think a lot of it depends how the season ends and where his stock is, but I think he'll at least be open to a return to Kentucky.
Only 2 players on the Kentucky roster from the state of Kentucky: Brennan Canada and Reed Sheppard. Maybe not 4, but they can pass the hat and come up with a lot of money.
You would. I mean, look, everyone in that state is going to want Reed Sheppard around. Yeah. It was a very defining recruitment for Cal to go out and get him. It was a sign that he was open to being a little bit different, not just embrace the one and done, go get an in-state kid that everyone loves. And then he turned into a one and done, kind of funny enough. So It'd be interesting to see what he does. I mean, look, I think he's going to be drafted pretty highly if he wants to come out. So interesting days ahead for him.
Talking to Kevin Sweeney, joins us every single week to talk college basketball. Follow him on Twitter at CBB_Central. I've been very high on Arizona this year, even back into the summer before the year started. And, some of those losses stick out. Stanford early in conference play. I think Washington State certainly looks better now than when they lost to them. Oregon State, another one that sticks out. But they've rattled off a handful of wins now. Do you think they're kind of starting to find their groove and can maybe, make some noise in the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think they have gone as Kylan Boswell, their young point guard, has taken them. Mm-hmm. He really struggled at times in that late December, early January swoon, was scoreless against Oregon State, was scoreless against Washington State, just really struggled. And has started to play really well lately, 3 straight games in double figures. He opens up a lot of stuff for them because you already have Caleb Love and Pell Larson and Ballo down low. Shad Johnson obviously had a Final Four last year at San Diego State. They have all the dudes. They just haven't always had the point guard play. Yeah. And honestly, I mean, there's something about this team that reminds you of last year's UConn, where they start out guns blazing. They hit a snag early in league play. All these questions about point guard. What do they have? Do they have the toughness? Can their coach break through in March? And all of a sudden, it's just a avalanche when you hit, February and March. And they've been really good lately. So I'm buying Arizona stock right now if I can.
I love it.
Have you ever been to a game at Washington State, Kevin?
I have not.
Has anybody ever been? Is that the loneliest outpost in sports?
It's funny. I talked to Kyle Smith for a story a year or 2 years ago now, and he said that basically they have no ability to host recruiting visits other than full official visits because no one's within driving distance. It takes 12 hours to get to Pullman, no matter where you're coming from, because of flights and layovers. I mean, it is an unbelievable job that he's done.
It really is. Is that a name that you think we see pop up at some of these bigger schools with openings this offseason?
Yeah, I think Kyle's kind of like a bad job extraordinaire, if you will. I mean, he's won at all these terrible places. Yeah. And I don't know if he can get at Ohio State, but if I'm DePaul, then I can try to take advantage of the uncertainty with the realignment situation, I would consider it. I would go out and do everything I could to get him. I'd do the same thing at, in Arizona State if that opened. I think that. So it'll be interesting. I will say this. It's a crazy stat that came across my desk the other day. Washington State has had 3 coaches make the NCAA tournament since World War II. George Raveling, Tony Bennett, and Kelvin Sampson. All 3 have gone on to win National Coach of the Year at another school. So if Kyle Smith makes the tournament, that's some interesting company to be in, and I wouldn't want to be the AD that misses out.
That is a great stat.
That's the note of the year.
It really is. I mean, you had me with the only 3 coaches since World War II, and then on top of that, to go on and then National Coach of the Year. That's unbelievable.
I had forgotten about George Raveling there. I saw Tony Bennett in 2008 in the tournament with Washington State in Charlotte.
Wow. That's incredible. That's a really good nugget.
That's incredible.
Kevin, before we let you go, you got any stops planned for
this
week before we talk to you again?
Nothing crazy this weekend. Next week early, I'm going to go see a really fun Wake Forest team play at Notre Dame, and then Providence versus Marquette up in Milwaukee in a big bubble game. So a lot of Big East bubble stuff to watch. I was at Hinkle this past weekend for Creighton versus Butler, which was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then you move to Vegas, and you have about 3 weeks of basketball, right?
Sounds about right. Yep, I'm looking forward to it.
Kevin, I get one more quick one that I got to get in. You mentioned Wake Forest. You're a fun team to watch, but they're in that weird spot right now, kind of just hanging around the bubble. It feels like they do enough to maybe get that consideration to be in, and then they go and lose a game they should win. Do you think they can do enough to get into the tournament?
Duke this weekend is everything for them. Got to find a way to win it at home. They've beaten everyone they should beat by a whole lot. Mm-hmm. They just haven't won any of the up games, the games against top competition. They've had some close calls. Hopefully they can finally break through because they're a fun team to watch.
That's a big one against Duke this week. And Kevin, thanks so much. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks, fellas. Talk soon.
Thanks, Kevin.
Kevin Sweeney talking college basketball with us all the way through one shining moment, and we're getting closer and closer. And we're getting closer to spring. And if you want to get a new vehicle, you can head down Highway 78 first exit Kraft Goodman Road, and you're there at All-Star Chevrolet, and you'll be ready for one of those new Silverados. All-Star Chevrolet, they've got them, and they've got financing to 2.9 for 72 months or up to $5,000 cash back. Plus, you make no payments for 90 days. Your good credit deserves it, and you get it at All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch. It's the month of love, and at Olive Branch, they love all the new Silverados, Equinox, Trailblazers, Tahoes. You're going to love seeing the All-Star lot and showroom loaded up again the way it should be. If you want something pre-owned, they've got it. Everything you want's right there. Jeeps, Nissan Rogue, Ram trucks, the Traverse with third-row seating. So we all can do more together. Where are you going for Easter or spring break? And what are you going to be driving? You need to be driving something from All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. For college students, healthcare workers, teachers, military, you get an extra $500 bonus with all the other incentives. Everyone at All-Star, they're ready to see you, and they have what you're looking for. And if it's not there, they can find it easily. Just ask Kevin or Jeff, and they'll find it for you. Remember, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not Bartlett, it's not Collierville, it's not South Haven. It's got to be Olive Branch. Come on down to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Burst pipes can be real headaches, especially with the increasing deep freezes. But don't worry, Choate's has solutions by winterizing your home's plumbing pipes. Our smart water monitor and shutoff system detects leaks and can automatically shut off your water to prevent even bigger leaks. We guarantee your outside faucet won't ever freeze with our Freeze Miser upgrade. And don't forget about heat tape we can install for drains and water pipes, keeping them from freezing down to -40 degrees. Concerned about water quality? The Halo Whole Home Water Filtration System filters out pollutants, ensuring clean showers and pure drinking water for your family. For a free estimate on safeguarding your plumbing system or filtrating your water, give Choates a call at 347-8086. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better? I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings & Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings & Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time, free gun rentals with purchase of ammo, and members lounge access. Top Gun 2770 Witten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. They're on the scene of an accident, 240 westbound at Airways. It's got traffic slow now between Mount Moriah and Airways on 240 going westbound. It's slow also over here again today, just like yesterday, on 240 east as you try to make your way up to Popular Walnut Grove. It's all from some road work they were doing earlier. Again, just like yesterday, on 240 east at Sam Cooper, wrapping up that wreck 240 westbound at Sam Cooper. It's a busy one today. Give yourself extra time. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Memphis. Check out TomahawkCrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. We've got a little more than 30 minutes left in today's show. I'm sure a lot of people already heading down to FedEx Forum for the game tonight between Charlotte and Memphis. I'll be heading down there right when we get off the air to go see that game. I'm excited about it. I really, really am. But Brett, we do got to talk some more college football news because about an hour ago,
old curveball,
Pete Thamel reported the idea here. This was his tweet that he put out. Sources: the idea of a 14-team college football playoff was discussed by the CFP management committee at meetings in the Dallas area today. If that happened, it would begin in 2026. Nothing is imminent, but it's significant. This idea was discussed. So we've talked about staying at 12. We've talked about going to 16. One thing we haven't talked about is adding, but going to 14.
Not 12, not 16, but 14. What it reminds me of, and one summer we're at SEC Media Days, and George and I, we have on Mike's Live with us. And George asked him, what about going from 12 to 16 teams? And Mike's Live, with a sly look and really good relationship with George, he said, why is 16 the magic number? Why not 14? Well, the next summer was 14.
Wow. So sounds very identical, very similar.
Yeah.
But the idea.
So bracketing would just be top two with buys like the NFL?
I would think so.
Yeah, that's probably most likely.
But I
should.
But that's 7 and 7 in division, but same premise, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah. But I would be surprised that so many people would sign off on only 2 teams getting a bye.
So it'd be 3 versus 14 if 2 got buys?
Yeah.
I know people don't want to hear it, but that's going to be 8 out of 10 years slaughters.
That's just the reality, though.
Yep.
That's.
Now can they? Yes. And sure. This morning Dave asked me, and he mentioned the 16 over the 1, and there was a time I said it would never happen.
Right.
After it happened, I said it would never happen again, and it happened again.
It happened again, yeah.
So I couldn't have missed more. Can a 12 beat a 5 next year? Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
But can a 12 go on a run to win it? No chance.
Because
chance.
The competition level would just get wider and wider. It's hard. It's hard in football to continue doing that.
And Johnny, that's the different dynamic. That's the different construct from basketball. Again, in basketball, you can have that 14 made threes and only 8 turnover game. And a lot of people can beat a lot of people. You're not going to have that in football.
Yeah, it's just athleticism. It's different. It's different game by game.
And it's way more physical
Yeah.
and that wear and tear from game to game, and just for a team like that to have to go up against these juggernauts game after game after game,
I don't think I was clear enough this morning with Dave, and he didn't rush me. I just didn't make my point very well. Yes, and I was talking about the 5 Ole Miss hosting Memphis next year, and yes, Memphis can win that game.
Sure. That'd be fun.
Now, if they did in that next round, they will play that rested 4 about 11 days later. That'd be rough stuff.
That's gonna be very rough stuff for them. Like that's rough, man. Cause you just getting out of a dogfight with those
4 and 5 stars in depth and 40 times matter.
Yeah,
it does, and different, very different. But John and I were having the discussion this morning about it, and he was saying that he's seen a lot of people talk about Notre Dame and how they would be left out of being able to get a bye with the current format, even if they were undefeated, number 1 in the country. We talked about it yesterday, but he said that in his mind it's not that bad of a thing because they don't play in a conference championship game because they're independent.
Great point, John.
So they would have that week off.
That's their conference championship game.
Exactly.
Too bad.
But still, I would still feel a little uneasy about having to play that game after game after game, and not get that week off in between. But it's going to be weird. There's going to be a lot of things to kind of take into consideration with this new 12-team format. And then if we go to 14 teams, then everything changes. It's completely different than what we were just talking about with a 12-team.
I wonder, FCS right now, it's a 20-team playoff.
Yes.
And they have a couple of byes.
Yes.
I wonder what it grew. I wonder what it was before 20, and if it was anything before that. I wonder if it went evolutionary 12, 14, 16, 20.
That's a good question.
I just don't know. I don't pay
either.
that much. I watch a little. And yes, I have DVR'd Furman in the Elite Eight last year, getting ready for opening day next year.
Oh, man. Beautiful. Beautiful, Brett. That's what I like to hear. Nothing better than just catching that one.
Go watch it this summer.
All you need, Brett, is just one FCS game a week, I think. I think that's what, you don't get called crazy then. 2, then maybe. But I think 1 a week, I think that's a healthy dose.
And where it eventually ends and what that's going to do, look, if 12 teams is going to have a football-centric playoff world, well, 14 will even do it, and then 16, and it's just going to be impossible for a lot of these bowls to exist in current format. They could exist like this, though. They could exist of being the opening game, paying somebody a boatload of money. You open your season here, and we have it be the Music City Bowl, the Belt Bowl, the Liberty Bowl, the Texas Bowl, the Armed Forces Bowl.
That could work. That could work.
It could. Brett, I have done some quick research, and I will state before I even give out this information, I am on a Wikipedia page. Take it for whatever you think of Wikipedia. This is FCS football and their playoffs. The inaugural season of Division I AA in 1978 postseason included just 4 teams, 3 regional champions plus an at-large selection. The field doubled to 8 teams in 1981 with champions at 5 conferences, yada, yada. And then the 4 remaining teams were picked on terms of seeding. The tournament was expanded to 12 teams in 1982, with each of the top 4 seeds receiving a first-round bye and a home game in the quarterfinals. Champions of the Southern and Southland conferences also received automatic
That was
bids.
Larry Lacewood at Arkansas State,
right,
doing a lot of that.
Yeah, and so then after
Georgia Southern, real good.
Yeah, so very similar to what we're about to see with the 12-team playoff. And then after that, it expanded to 16-team format in 1986, requiring 4 postseason victories to win the title. Initially, only
So
the
from
top 4
78
teams.
to 86, 4 to 16.
Yes. And then the 16, all 16 teams were seeded. I don't know if it says how many got byes, but they went from 12 to 16. They never got a 14-team playoff in there.
Yeah, well, this one's going to move fast too.
Yeah.
And I think the TV contracts will be short to give them latitude to increase the number of participants.
You mentioned earlier when we were talking college football about how the idea, and I've seen it out there, that ESPN, even though they have the rights, they could sell some of those early games to a different network. Do you think we could see that, especially if we go to a 14-team or 16-team playoff?
Yeah, we will, and it will be. We're going to have streaming involved.
That's a good point. Yeah, we certainly will have streaming for it. Especially, we've been talking about it for 12-team playoff. If we get out to 16 teams or 14 teams, either of those, I think you would certainly in some of those first games have games that are just streaming.
This is so kind. Got a great text from a friend of mine. My friend Brett Brewer, the son of the late, great Billy Brewer, head coach at Ole Miss, 1982. 1AA playoffs. Featured Louisiana Tech, coached by Billy Brewer. First round, beat South Carolina State. Then in the quarters, and then lost in the semis to Delaware.
Wow, Delaware. That is a wagon of a program, and I'm sure a wagon back.
Joe Flacco's alma mater.
That's right. You can't argue.
Joe Biden's alma mater.
That's right. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Undergrad, law school at Syracuse.
You can't argue with that. The alumni that have come out of there. Joe Flacco. What he did in the NFL this year, comeback player of the year, Brett. A former comeback player of the year's alma mater. How about that?
Guy was working in his yard and then leading the team to a playoff.
Got a call doing yard work. Hey, you want to come be the starting quarterback for the Browns?
What a great call, man.
And here's another great source, our friend John Varlas. Mason Miller, Jonathan Lawson, and another Houston product, your alma mater, Brock Weiss.
Yeah, Brock Weiss.
Vance Weiss's son.
Yeah, I thought it was Brock, but I wasn't positive. And then I think
our listeners know a lot more than I do. Thank you.
I think last year, because when I was at Houston, Mason was a freshman when I was a senior, I think. I might be a year off. Maybe he was a sophomore when I was a senior. Either way, though, it was Mason Miller, and he had a buddy that, when I tell you, same height, and they would be, they were attached at the hip. They would go everywhere together, and you would just see over all of the people that were, around regular people's height going to class, you would see these two mountains of men walking to class, and it was Mason and his buddy. I think his buddy went there and walked on last year at Creighton. He's not there anymore, and now Brock Weiss there. So three former Memphis guys, local guys at Creighton, all three of them played at Houston. How about that?
So, and I'm going to get to it in crunch time. I swear I had a Coach Billy Brewer reference, the dog, love dog Brewer. Yeah. And we'll have another one with the announcement of Eli Gold completely and officially stepping away. We now have a new elder statesman of SEC football play-by-play announcers.
Okay. I like that. Well, moving on up. Do you have all those written down, or is that just something you have memorized? All the coach seniorities.
I don't. I kind of had them in my head, but now
so much has changed.
Now it's going to be David. It's going to be David Kellum.
Well, I didn't want to spoil it for you.
In 1989, and it was a Memphis Ole Miss game at Liberty Bowl Stadium, 2013. Ole Miss, and that was his first game as football. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say second now is Bob Kessling, who took over for John Ward after the 98 season.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, Mike Kelly at Mizzou. Somewhere in there, Chuck Barrett at Arkansas.
Yeah.
That Todd Ellis at South Carolina's got to be moving up.
Yeah. So it's but David Kellum up there at number one now.
Forever. We have Jack Crystal and Larry Munson and John Ward. It was like the Hall of Fame log jam at wide receiver. It was never going to loosen up.
No, you're right about that. Well, and for Alabama, we knew a lot was going to change losing Nick Saban, but now listening to games, Eli Gold gone, that has been a staple forever. So, a lot of change coming to Alabama football next year.
Boy, they are getting it, aren't they? Woo. They are getting the change.
It's going to be a completely different
people
program.
What has happened to my Saturday?
People are just going to have to relearn everything they know about Alabama football.
Chris Stewart, the now the permanent voice of Alabama football. He's been on basketball and baseball for a long time. He's filled in during Eli Gold's illness, and just a swell guy, and so happy for him. And he had gone through a mountain of health issues.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just lucky to be alive and doing what he was born to do, and that's called Alabama sports.
Absolutely. But no, that was kind of outside of everything happening in the college football playoff world today, and kind of the NCAA, all the meetings happening. That was the big news. Eli Gold stepping down at Alabama and being officially done calling Alabama football games. So a lot of change at Bama. Well, we need to go ahead and get to our final break of the day. And when we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
When a cold comes on strong, try DayQuil's Severe Honey flavor. The daytime, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, so a cold won't slow you down. Get back to your day feeling relieved, enjoying the delicious flavor of DayQuil Severe Honey. DayQuil Severe Honey flavor soothes your symptoms with a delicious taste. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21,590, Sorrento PG 242710, MSRP 33010, Telluride RG 462-822, MSRP 38705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you ready to get this party started at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
You bet I am, Randy. Gossett's got your new Kia that gets 41 MPG highway. 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month. $27.99 due at signing. Need extra room? How about a 2023 Kia Sorrento LX at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing, and a 2024 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease.
Plus, get peace of mind because with every Gossett Kia, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkheimer for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. What a great time to buy a new or used car or truck and save money at Sunrise. The largest selection in over a year, over 500 new Buicks and GMCs to choose from, an $8 million used car inventory. See them all at sunrisememphis.com. Factory rebates up to $6,000 and Sunrise discounts high as $10,000. Immediate financing available with loans low as 0% on select models. Cars and trucks under $10,000. When it comes to selection and savings, it doesn't get any better than this, partner. Come on in and save some money at Sunrise. Coming to Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, Jason Munns tweeted out about 2 minutes ago. So reporting before tonight's game, he's already down at FedEx Forum. Jalen Young, Jaden Hardaway, and Jordan Brown are expected to miss tonight's game. So the Tigers will be down a handful of players. Jalen Young's been battling an injury for a while and has not played in a lot of games lately. Jordan Brown has struggled to get minutes on the court a lot this since returning to the team this year. And Jaden Hardaway, a guy that Penny likes to bring in off the bench and use, he will also be out tonight. So they'll be down 3 guys. We'll see what this team looks like without him.
Should we be in prayer for Jordan Brown's health?
Well, Brett, anytime I see him on a not active,
me too. I hope no relapse.
You get a little worried. You think back to the past.
I got a postcard for him.
Well, we got to get.
Well, we just got to get address, Johnny.
That's right.
What I learned, I talked about it before the break with the official retirement of just 0 games left home Nor Road for Eli Gold. The senior status, I don't know the proper term. I sent elder statesman to David, and he said, slow down on that elder statesman stuff.
Oh, yeah, he's not a fan
if you would, please.
Yeah.
So I guess seniority of play-by-play announcers for SEC football, David Kellum, 1989, his first year, and I'm going to get that list tonight.
I like it.
You asked me if I had a list. I should have that. I do that tonight.
All right. Well, we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. What I could have done without today, it's got to be with spring training games getting underway tomorrow. We've got Padres and Dodgers on ESPN tomorrow afternoon. We'll be giving live updates from spring training tomorrow. But these uniforms for Fanatics, now we're seeing what the pants that
they made
be
me blush.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a very, very awkward spring if we continue in these current pants. But I mean,
a lot could go wrong.
I mean, and we talked about it a while, so I finally was able to figure out exactly what happened. So these are Nike branded uniforms, but Nike has outsourced their production to Fanatics, and so Fanatics is making the product.
Somewhere supply chains go work into this.
Somewhere, and so they're slapping a Nike logo on it, and I think Nike
it's a bad look.
I mean, they should be.
I promise you, we had really good stuff. Far City Little League in the 70s, we had better material than that.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And then you got the commissioner coming out after all of the uproar from fans. Well, when the fans really get their hands on, when they see it out on the field, when they touch it and feel that material, when these players.
That's what I'm afraid of. I'm going to see it out on the field.
Well, yeah, that was before we saw the pants, but I mean, just completely terrible. This whole rollout of these new jerseys has been awful.
Tomorrow marks 4 weeks. Is that right? Until Cardinals and Dodgers.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Maybe 5. Maybe 5.
I think 5. Yeah.
Late March regular season opener. What I could have done without. Look, we've talked about Coach Hardaway. He's bigger than the program.
Sure.
He's beloved. Now he's got his own logo. You can be the coolest guy in town, and he's one of them. But when you're head coach, it comes down to winning.
Yep.
And tonight he needs a win.
Got to.
I could do without that. We have to get down to that bottom line, but we do.
I'm with you on that. I mean, it's you said it earlier. I mean, how many times have we been sitting here saying it's a must-win game? You got to win tonight. It feels like we've been saying it far too often this season. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to Starkville, to Egg Bowl on the hardwoods.
Right.
We know how the Egg Bowl ended on the grass there on Thanksgiving night. Now State gets to avenge football and the earlier basketball meeting. 7:30 pregame right here, 8 o'clock tip down at Humphrey Coliseum.
Well, I'm heading down to FedEx Forum tonight for Memphis and
Good
Charlotte. Want to see if the Tigers can bounce back after really 2 incredibly poor performances on the road. At least North Texas, you could say, at times they looked like they were trying. Could not say that against SMU. It looked like they had given up. What do they look like at home? The last time they were at home, Brett, let's not forget, against Tulane was maybe certainly the most dominant performance we've seen during the conference slate. One of the most dominant performances they've had all season. Can they get back to looking like that team tonight?
Brian, you're going to be our eyes and ears down there tonight. You're going to be busy. Head on a swivel. You got to watch bench comportment, body English, crowd tenor and tone, that the starting lineup, who plays, everything going on around the game, on the floor. There's a lot on the line tonight at FedEx Forum.
And it's a lot to watch tonight, for sure. From on the court, off the court, everything going on, it's going to be a lot to keep an eye on. But it's going to be.
And you'll get home, and I know watch Colorado State at New Mexico.
Oh, Brett, I can't wait. Some good late night games tonight. Really good slate. We got 45 games, some really good games starting up. Some games already started, but some games starting up here at 6 o'clock. Tigers at 7. So it should be a really good night of college basketball. Well, if you're heading down to FedEx Forum for the game tonight, be safe travels, and hopefully you will see a Tiger victory tonight. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll do it again tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock.
Memphis basketball is working towards March with 2 big home games coming up. It's a blackout with the first 3,000 fans receiving a free black t-shirt for the game against Charlotte on Wednesday, February 21st at 7 o'clock. And then a big-time matchup for revenge against Florida Atlantic on Sunday, February 25th at 1 o'clock for the Stripe Out. Limited tickets remain for the Florida Atlantic game. Purchase your tickets at GoTigersGo.com/tickets.
We don't know who you are. If you're looking for dinner, we don't have any. But at Sunrise, we do have a particular set of skills. Skills we have acquired over the last several years. Skills that will make someone like you breakfast or lunch. If you come to Sunrise for breakfast or lunch, that will be the end of it. But if not, we will look for you. We will find you. And if you want bacon, we will grill it for you.
Join the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts for an evening with Cal Ripken Jr. February 22nd and celebrate a true champion. Ironman Cal Ripken Jr. played 2,632 consecutive games for the Baltimore Orioles. This 19-time All-Star, 2-time American League MVP, and Baseball Hall of Fame inductee is a true baseball icon. Get tickets at HeindelCenter.org to see Cal Ripken Jr. 7:30 p.m. Thursday, February 22nd at the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts on the campus of Northwest Mississippi Community College in Senatobia.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
It's leap year, so jump into big savings at Gossett Kia on the Pike. New 2024 Kia Forte LXS gets 41 MPG, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. How about 7-passenger seating? Get 2023 Kia Sorento LX, $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 2024 Kia Telluride LX, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease, and don't forget, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So call Bobby J to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online